Please welcome retired filmmaker George Lucas.
You got a delay, George. How are you?
Where's Otto?
I don't know where Watto is.
You don't know where he is?
No, why are you talking like this, George?
There must be a delay.
Watto, George, we have another guest.
No, what?
Yeah.
Please.
Watto, why don't you ask our guest the normal question that we ask our guests?
Hello, guest. Here is a normal question for you. How would you like to be introduced? I am the announcer for this show. You know how the private chat works because you typed in the word cool. If you want to type out your own introduction, Watto will read it verbatim to bring you on this trip.
I'm excited about this guest. This is a cool guest.
Hey,
He's-
Patrick,
Yeah.
I'm excited about every guest.
Me too.
And that should be your attitude.
But I'm saying, okay, there's Watto.
Do you know why I'm excited about this guest?
Tell me why, Watto.
Because our next guest is a fraud and interloper. Grogers and Grogras, please welcome to the George Lucas Talk Show, Graham Goring.
Hi, Graham.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm honoured here to be here, and as I say, I feel like a fraud and an interloper.
No.
Well, you said Watto's already left, so
I'm getting something, Graham. You're the
okay.
You know what, Graham? I'm going to leave too, and I'm going to get
You know what?
something.
I'm gonna leave as well, Graham. I hope.
Bye, George. Bye, everyone.
I have to commit to the bit, Graham.
I guess I'm carrying this on my own. That is a lot of pressure.
You did great.
I believe Watto and I probably grabbed the same thing because we're gonna.
Oh, okay. I'm curious.
I'm gonna wait for Watto to come back. Graham, how's your day going?
It's been all right. I've blocked my mother on the phone app, so we should be okay.
Great. I can't believe how I'm so shocked that Watto does not have this right next to him.
I wasn't thinking.
Now, Graham, you are based in the UK, correct?
I am. I'm in the UK at 7 p.m. and I have been drinking.
Oh, good.
So yeah. Just mildly buzzed. Just a skosh. Yeah. Enough.
I'm assuming you have not met retired filmmaker George Lucas before.
I have not, despite having worked in the universe that you created.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've never had the honor of meeting retired filmmaker George Lucas.
Oh, working in the universe that George created. Do you mean this universe?
That's right. Yeah, Star Wars. You did get the same one. You know what? I should have won the T-shirt that they gave me, but
I think Watto has them all. I believe.
I think you're showing the right amount of respect for them as well. I think
they're the best games ever made.
I agree.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They're great. They brought a lot of joy to people. Not so much the people who worked on them, but the people who played them.
Now, Graham, we should explain. You were. I want to get the title. You wrote the Lego Force Awakens game, correct?
I wrote the script for it. Yes.
Yeah.
For the majority of it.
Which I believe is Harrison Ford's only video game credit.
Correct.
Really?
I believe.
Is that true?
I believe that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That's cool.
That's a great.
That's really good because they used to think. I was told that it was canon. So until he reappeared in the last Star Wars movie, it was like that was his last performance.
Yeah.
Like canon performance as Han Solo, and then of course he appeared in the last movie, and I was kind of like, you took me from it. You took it from me, Harrison.
I had it.
Yeah.
What goes into writing a script for a game like this, where you have to work within certain confines? Is it difficult? What's the hardest part? Is what I'm asking.
Do you know the hardest part? Do you know what? That one was a breeze. It really was. Like LucasArts were the best to work with. Because I literally the only things they asked me to take out where jokes were a little bit too dark for the kiddie winks.
Sure.
Do
you remember any
there was one basically where you were protecting like another ship, that effectively were smugglers, and then they would say if you won the mission, they'd be like, "Thanks for that. We're going to go and sell these weapons to propagate a war," basically. So, and they were like, "No, not that. That was the only one."
Make a joke about wars in Star Wars.
No, exactly. I mean, it has no business there.
Here, these are the Star Wars rooms.
And also this, that's also a plot point in Last Jedi. So maybe
I was going to say that's fascinating, Graham. That maybe it was even less about the edginess of it and more that they were like, you're getting one movie ahead.
Oh, that might have been it. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you know what? That totally makes. That's it. I just strayed into dangerous waters for them.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So were you guys? Go ahead, Wada.
No, I was going to ask. So you have that honor of being one of the very small group of people who wrote Han Solo dialogue for Harrison Ford, right? I mean, you're looking at George, you're looking at J.J. Abrams and Lawrence Kasdan, essentially. And
I guess so, actually.
And the Hayeks, right? At the holiday special, sure.
Yeah.
But it is a small group. What was that like getting to write new dialogue for him? And what was your involvement in his recording on the game?
When I learned that he was going to be doing it, it was just like it's kind of crazy. It was like because you know managing to secure like the cast that they did was incredible. But I think it's safe to say that he was like on the fence. It was kind of like, are we going to get him? And then I think he saw the script and he thought, I will do this for charity. That might not be true. So it was incredible. And here's the thing, this is why I feel like a fraud here. My total interaction with Harrison Ford was basically I was a voice coming out of a speaker in the corner of the recording studio when they were like, "What the fuck have you written here? What is the meaning of this?" And I would have to say, "Oh, it just hit that word." But he was incredible because he was just knocking it out. It was like the director had to keep up with him. He was kind of like bam, 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 because he knows that character inside out. It was he was amazing.
So what was his reaction to Wookiee cookies? That's what I want.
Do you know what? Everyone mentioned that in the God.
Let me back up and explain. There is a level where you have to go get cookies for Chewbacca, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of Han being like, "We gotta go find the Wookiee cookies for Chewie." It's a lot of that, which it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun. Yeah.
Like when that line came up, everyone's kind of like, "Can't believe you got him to say that." Because it's just like it's Harrison Ford. We've remunerated him generously, and you're getting him to say this. So yeah, that was everyone was kind of like, this is a good job. This is a good job to have.
I also like that someone in the chat is saying, "Patrick, I'm confident no one in the chat needed that clarified." Yeah, it's such a fun game, and you also, it starts in Return of the Jedi times, so you also get some of the like classic characters at their classic ages, but you can also play as Kathy Kennedy, and you can also play as like Ki-Adi-Mundi and like whoever you really want. It's sort of whatever.
Like it's the Force Awakens stuff is expounded upon the most because it was the most recent movie, but the game really jumps over the timeline and you do expanded universe. The game has a level devoted to explaining where C-3PO got his red arm. You get to rehash some of the prior things. It's great. Sorry, I just wanted to another thing that doesn't need explaining for our viewers.
I wanted to ask, when did you, because the game came out 6 months after the movie, I think. Yeah, June of 2016. How early were you guys working on it?
I think like about 18 months before the movie came out, I think. It had a really sort of quite a generous development schedule, because in video games things often they're like, well, can you do it in 3 months? But no, it had like a really sort of generous development schedule. That said, there was stuff that we didn't know what it looked like until the movie came out. It was like on the day the movie came out, all the artists were like, "Get to the fucking cinema, we need to see what the Star Killer looks like." Because it was, they keep that stuff under wraps for very good reason. People are fervently interested in Star Wars. I don't know if you know that, George. It's a big success.
People, it's the thing people want to know is what's going to happen next. and then because it's very important information. No one knows what's going to happen next in Star Wars until it happens.
Yeah.
So when you are a keeper of that knowledge, that's a burden. Like when we ask you to work on a Star Wars thing, we tell you don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
We make you sign a lot of very serious things. Did you follow it to the letter of the rule? Your agreements? You told people, didn't you? You told little secrets to friends and family, little Star Wars secrets, and you think we don't know, but we absolutely know. We probably put stuff in that little lava lamp in the background. We probably got a little bug in there. That's right.
So I'm glad that's in shot, but let's move that out. This is an office. I shouldn't have that in an office unless I'm a PI.
It's just an old-fashioned style of working.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have it in a drawer as if it's official business.
Yeah. My drawers are just too far away. That's the like a pair of glasses that I bring out like that. I should, yeah. When I learned, like that Han Solo has a bit of an unfortunate accident in that first one. Having that knowledge before it was known, no, don't tell it to me. I'll break. I mean, if I was ever interrogated, I'll be just, lads, I'll just tell you.
Well, Graham, like that brings up an interesting point, which is the Legos games have these very clearly defined comedic sensibility, and you're one of the people who really help refine that. When you come onto the games, that's when they really start dealing with full voice performances, because the early games were all pantomime, right? It was all just sort of little visual gags, and because of that, they didn't have to recreate scenes at the same level of detail and depth. And then here you are. It's a new release film. It's a movie that's come out only 6 months earlier, arguably the most anticipated movie of all time. At that time is the highest grossing film in history. People feel so serious and passionately about it. And your job is, how do I make the scene where Han Solo's son murders him fun? Right? Like, that's what you're doing. You're essentially having to write the Mad Magazine parody of these scenes.
Is that scene? Because
it's in the game. I'm lucky because I didn't have to do that scene though, because it was a cut. Yeah, because it was a cut scene. Phil Gray over in cutscenes, he handled that. So I did basically everything that wasn't a bit of the movie stitched together. I did all the extra stuff. So I was really lucky that I wasn't the one who had to thread needle, because they took a lot of runs at that, and where they were like, well, no, this is too sad. Now it's too flippant. Now it's too sad again.
Remember examples of too sad or too flippant versions?
I think like they had. I think some of the reactions in the background of the people kind of watching it were like too like, like they were sort of like, I don't know, they were just too big, and then they just toned that down. And but before they put background characters in there reacting to it, it was just played too straight. It was just like, well, you just made the kids cry. That's it. It's funny you talk about writing the dialogue. There is not a game that I worked on where when they released a trailer for it, and I'd go on YouTube, I read below the line, and everyone's like, yeah, it's better when it didn't have words. Every single one. No, it was better when they didn't have the talking.
I did agree strongly as someone
me too.
The complete collection.
Yeah.
I think it elevated it. And I mean, like the Star Wars, the complete Skywalker saga, the Lego game, is supposed to come out sometime this year. And you look at the IMDb, and pointedly, another actor is rumored to be playing Han Solo. It is very likely that this will go down as the only video game that Harrison Ford ever does a voice for. There are so many Indiana Jones games, so many Star Wars games, so many Lego Star Wars games, and the one you wrote is the one that he agreed to do.
That's not, that'll be nice. I'll pop that on the gravestone, maybe. It's a nice claim to fame. I should really have it on my CV. I should.
This is what you should put on the CV.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford's exclusive writer for video games.
Yeah. Oh, that can't. That's not like legally actionable from his side, right?
No.
I mean,
we're doing this whole thing today. Is this legally actionable? I don't know.
Wait, am I possibly on the hook for shit?
Yes.
No, it's all Patrick. It's all Patrick.
Oh,
Patrick
okay, that's fine. Oh, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, he brought me in.
Yeah, I did.
It's like my hand. You're my handler, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, HAN.
Yeah. I'm your only handler. Your solo handler.
Nice.
Help me, Obi-Wan Patrick. You're my only Han Solo handler.
Oh no.
You should have written more of them. I think. I think handing over to Lawrence was a mistake.
Yeah.
Graham. So I mean, your official CV. I'm sure there are other Lego games that you worked on in a uncredited capacity, but your official CV within the Lego franchise is Lego City Undercover, the first Lego movie game, Jurassic World, Force Awakens, the Ninjago movie, and then Dimensions, where Dimensions covers so much. It covers
everything.
Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings, Simpsons, Mission Impossible, everything. Was there ever a franchise you wished you could get to write for the Lego version? Is there like one in your mind? And now let's say this. And even suggest one that was like impossible. Like this is a dirty R-rated franchise. There's no way it would ever happen. But in my mind's eye, I'd like to play that game. I'd like to write.
In all honesty, it was Doctor Who, and then I got to do it. However, beyond that, I don't know. Like the Alien franchise could be cool, right? I mean, there's probably enough. There's enough movies and enough characters in that, and it'll be. I mean, here's the thing: like Phil Gray and the cutscene team, they did an amazing thing making it so that Han's death wasn't so grim. But fuck me, they would have their work cut out with Alien.
Yes. Yes, but it would be good. Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
you're like that would be a good game. Is there now that Disney owns Fox? Is there an amount of PG-rated Alien movies they could make that would then override the franchise? Where they're like, we can include level on these R-rated ones because now it's for kids.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think they could probably do, because this thing like Lego City Undercover that had like Shawshank Redemption stuff in it. And that is not exactly a kid-friendly movie.
Yeah, right.
So maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like someone in the _history in the comments is suggesting Lego Mad Max, which is a good one. I'm trying to see what other. I mean,
Lego
Ghostbusters.
Matrix. I saw people say
we did that.
Ghostbusters in Dimensions. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot. Lego Muppets, of course.
That'd be charming.
I mean,
I saw.
We got this, Watto.
We got Lego Watto.
Yeah.
Who you can do in?
What was it like? Was Watto in the Force Awakens game? Yes.
No. I think maybe he's like an unlockable, maybe, but I didn't get to write for him, unfortunately. I didn't get to for such an esteemed character.
If you got to write for Watto, is there something that you'd like Watto to say? Because you can make it happen now. Now you can try out. We're gonna no bad ideas. You can write whatever you want.
I would just have him. Yeah.
This is a DLC level, right? We're treating there's a DLC Watto focused mission.
Season pass. This is part of the season pass.
Right.
I would just have him looking at Anakin and saying, "I don't trust that fucking kid. Keep an eye on him."
Okay. Great. Ready? I'll give you 3 of that.
Hang on one sec, Watto. Here we go.
Okay, the lips is deep, the tip of the tongue. The lips is deep, the tip of the tongue. Okay, ready? Yeah, I don't trust that fucking kid. Keep an eye on him. Okay, now this is a lighter take because the game's for kids. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't trust that fucking kid. Keep an eye on him.
I like that.
Okay. And then this one's just for me. I'm going to put some stamp. Okay. Hey, I don't trust that fucking kid. Keep an eye on him.
Can we get
that green M&M energy coming out there, Watto?
With the green M&M.
Can we get a really dark one though, Watto?
Yeah.
Let me find it. I have to go. I have to. I think I'm there. Okay. I don't trust that fucking kid. I
Wow. Wow.
Just powerful. Chills. Like chills.
Thank you. I got range. I don't know if you were watching earlier, Graham, but we established Watto has range because now he can go from green to blue. I have range.
I like blue Watto. I want to keep blue Watto.
Oh, you like
blue Watto? Yeah, I like blue Watto.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Blue Watto is back, baby.
Yeah. Grant, let's talk about Dimensions because Dimensions is such a big game. It's huge. What was the hardest part of breaking a story like that? And again, I'm sure everyone in the chat knows, but it's a game where like you have a what do you call it? A gamepad, I guess is what you'd call it, and you put the figures on it.
Yeah.
You wanted to play
a portal.
Yes.
A portal. Yeah, a portal. Yeah.
And then you could hop into different worlds depending on who was on the portal.
I think the hardest part was making sure that you found all the it sounds terrible saying finding all the obvious jokes where it's like making sure like if you're in in the Wizard of Oz and you've got a character who's a scarecrow and you've got Batman there, well you got to draw attention to that. Sure. So it's kind of it's finding all those little different interactions and making sure that you honor them because it's the stuff that people want to hear, whether it's subconsciously or not. And so it's making sure that you mine all of that stuff. And also, like, stay true to those character voices, and don't, because I know we are doing like the Lego version of it, but you want it to be true to the actual franchise because these are things that people hold incredibly dear to themselves.
Yes.
Now,
I don't know. We're gonna mute George.
I have a question for you, Graham. And I understand you might not feel comfortable talking about this, so I'm going to position this in an interesting way.
Oh, okay.
Much like Patrick, Watto was very into Lego Dimensions and feels like that game was pulled before its time.
Yes.
We got 2 years of content, right?
Yeah.
The second year expanded a lot of new properties. There were rumors about what the third year was supposed to be.
Okay.
If I were to read some properties,
okay,
and look at your facial expressions, I wonder what I would find.
Let's find out.
Okay,
let's find out.
Okay, I'm opening this in a different window, so I have the list in one window and your face in the other window. Okay, ready?
Because I am a bad poker player. Okay.
Despicable Me. I mean, look, that's my reaction to Despicable Me in general. Too. I don't get it, baby. I don't get it. Captain Underpants. Now, here's one that I feel like people will get excited at the notion of.
Yeah.
How to Train Your Dragon.
Well, that was a little bit softer.
It looked like there was almost a little bit of consideration there.
There's something I'm willing you to say, and I'm hoping you say it so I can react otherwise.
Okay, I might start going through these faster.
Okay, yeah.
Shrek. Yeah, I mean, right. Come on, it's 2021. We're over that, right? The Croods, the Smurfs. Okay, right? Now I want to go on to some other things. Yeah, okay, ready?
Yeah.
Avatar. King Kong. Godzilla. Universal Monsters, the classic monster.
Ooh.
I mean, that would be really good, but it wasn't actually.
Wow.
Okay, Tintin. Now here's the one I'm wondering if you're waiting for me to say.
Huh?
James Bond.
Ooh.
Oh,
Not for Dimensions, but people have always wanted to do that one. That's one of the ones where people have always been like, "Oh, wouldn't it be good to do that?" Because there's so much of it.
yeah.
But the thing is, it's not kid friendly, so I don't know whether it'll ever happen. Right. That is one that was talked about a lot as like a franchise to do. But that's now, not like.
Huh? There was one you were waiting for me to say that I didn't.
Yeah, there was. Okay, so there was one that was maybe in the mix early on that didn't sort of pan out, and I don't know how to say it without saying it, and I feel like there's an NDA. But if I was to say the word adolescent and then 3 other words, that would probably give it away.
I got it.
Okay, yeah.
But
that didn't happen.
Radioland Murders.
Do you know? I really like that movie. The Brian Ben, right?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, the original BB-8, BB great, Brian Ben great.
Oh,
that's a bit of Cockney rhyming slang.
Yes. I know what it is, and listen. I would love to just sit down with a big old pizza and just maybe like skateboard down to the GameStop and pick it up, you know?
Great.
That's what I was doing.
Hugh is going to be all after you now, Patrick.
But it's almost like if you were at like ground level, there might be too much glare from the sun to see your screen on the game. You might have to go underground. Properly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I mean, that would have been fun.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I didn't say. The thing is, I didn't say anything, and you just got there yourself. You just got there yourself.
No, I get it. Look, I get it. You said adolescent, and then 3 other words, right?
He doesn't say adolescent every day.
We are on the hook for all of this. When you're done, you can just cowabunga right on out of here. Okay.
In fact, Graham, to let you off the hook, I'm gonna be the one who says it. Okay. The thing he's hinting at is young Archie who fucks. He's talking about which we all
he's just too adult.
Right, young Archie who fucks, and that's what it was going to be. Lego River.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bummer. It was a bummer that we didn't get more of Dimensions because I think it's genuinely very fun. And I'll say this: if people want to go play Dimensions, if you go to a Five Below or like a lot of those, you can get a lot of the.
Here's the thing. I was really impressed with how much they produced for it because that Toys to Life market it was kind of a bit flash in the pan, and the fact that they supported it as well as they did was like really impressive. I thought it's just a pity that like every single patch fucked you over.
But also like you got all these properties that are never going to get full Lego sets. Like if you're a Lego like actual brick system fan, not a video game player, it's still like, you can now find these discounted sets with like mini vehicle builds and the figures of these characters that you're never going to get in any other store.
Yeah, like the Portal stuff. That I think there's like some bricks in there that you just can't get elsewhere.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game.
R.I.P.
Which I mean, look at this guy right here. Check out this hunk. Look at him.
Oh. I don't think I even have that one.
Wow. There you go. Which one? Which game was your favorite to work on? Was there one that you really enjoyed?
City Undercover, I think, is just because I had complete free reign to write the script. And it was the first thing I wrote, basically, there. And we had a really long time and an absolute blast recording it with the actors. And here's the thing, it made me ill, just the amount of time it took. Because I wasn't just writing the stuff, I was at the VO sessions, but then also getting the data into the game and setting up cameras and cutscenes and stuff like that. So it was like, it was intense. But the end product I was really, really happy with, and it's lovely that it got a re-release. That's like so cool. So I really love those characters. But obviously close second, obviously Star Wars, obviously.
Of course.
City Undercover was kind of your magnum opus because that's
shit. I wasn't sincere enough.
You make me number 2, I'm out of here.
Unbelievable. George is sensitive. People don't know this, but George is sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send a bouquet.
That works.
Yeah. No, City Undercover, I think it's good to shout this out for people who have not played it, because originally it was a Wii U exclusive. And the Wii U is not a very successful system, so it slipped through the cracks. And then the last couple of years, the game has gotten re-released on every system. It's available for everything now, right? You can play it for PS4, for Xbox 360, for Switch.
Yeah, I think even that Texas Instruments calculator, like the really powerful ones, I think you can probably get a version on that.
Yes, absolutely. You can play it on certain fridges, like if you have a fridge that has a screen on it. But it's a really fun game, and it's also like one of the only Lego games, or certainly I think the only modern Lego game that is original, that isn't riffing on some other story. I mean, I understand why it was your favorite to work on, because it's the hardest, but it's also the one where you get to express your voice.
Yeah, which is the voice of a doofus, but that's nice. It was just so much fun. The fact that here's the thing, it was the first one we ever did VO dialogue for, so we hadn't got a fucking clue what we were doing in terms of writing that stuff, which is why they got me like a script editor, because they were like, we're gonna have to pay a professional to keep an eye on you. But yeah, it worked out like ridiculously well, and thank God for Nintendo, because if it hadn't been for them, I don't think it would have been half the game it was. They were just our saviors, I think, on that project. They were amazing to work with. So yeah, it holds such a fun place in my life, and it's sad I haven't got to a chance to revisit those characters, but I think people are still playing it, and that's nice.
Yeah. Graham, have you ever gotten fan art of yourself before?
No.
Well, good news.
I want a copy.
Ready? Are you hungry, Graham? Because it might be time for some water cookies.
Here's the thing. I used to have like a full-on Amish beard that absolutely was the spit of that.
So look at this. It's got your lava lamp.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I got the booze.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Well, Han is holding the Jim Beam.
Yeah.
But we got his
Lego Xenomorph.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I am genuinely touched by that. That is so lovely.
It's a vision board, Graham. It's a vision board.
I would like to apologize for what I said, George. Obviously Star Wars, it was number one. Legacy just below. I've thought about this, and that's how I feel.
Yeah.
How much discussion has there been of doing Lego Strange Magic?
Great question.
I don't know.
I think American Graffiti is on the cards. But I don't know.
Then you can always do Lego More American Graffiti.
Right. I think THX1138 really lends itself to Lego as well. Really lends itself.
Because Legos aren't supposed to have sex, and that's the same as the rules in THX.
It's very, very kiddie friendly. Very kiddie friendly.
And all of those early fans will be happy because there's not a lot of talking in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
You go back.
It means I have to write less, so that's another plus.
Yes.
Yeah. But are you familiar with Strange Magic, Graham?
Honestly, I am not. I'm gonna look it up though.
That was some really strong bluff work you did a second ago. You sort of nodded and said, and then you pivoted to other movies. You had a sense of something that I wanted to talk about that you had no preparation for.
Yeah, no, that's 100% correct.
Strange Magic was one of the. It was basically the last film project that I officially worked on, and it was for girls. Like I said, Star Wars is for boys. Strange Magic was for girls. It's a CGI animated jukebox musical about fairies who live in the woods. It's occasionally available on. It's occasionally made available on Disney Plus. They'll put it up and then they'll take it away. They're playing a funny little game.
Is it like the Disney Vault? It goes in the Disney Vault.
Yeah.
I think it's to make it more special, so people don't get used to it.
Yeah.
That is why they have the Disney Vault, isn't it? It's to make things. Yeah. It's that scarcity that makes people. It's like, not only is it strange magic, it's magic.
Yeah. It's a place where you can keep special things and shameful things, and they can live together in harmony.
It's also
you think it was like it's. Yeah.
No. What were you going to say?
I like the idea of like Strange Magic just gabbing away with all those old racist Disney cartoons, just having a grand old time.
Yeah, this lady right here talking to Uncle Remus, they're having fun.
I mean, and here's the unique thing: is most things when they go in the Disney Vault, they stay there for a while. Strange Magic is kind of doing the hokey pokey. It's putting its left foot into the vault and taking its left foot out. Right? It's putting its right foot in. It's here for a day. It's gone now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Strange Magic. I bet the other things in the vault will ask, like, what's it like? What's it like on the Plus?
Yeah.
They'll be like, oh, it's nice. I'm there. I'm with that Santa Claus movie that they made. I'm hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
Yoda. Fun stuff.
Shoot, I had a question and I don't remember what it was now.
Wow.
Wow.
Not a question.
I think
confession.
Lego Howard the Duck.
Punching your own leg.
That would be good.
Lego Howard.
Lego Howard's pretty good. I think
Lego Howard is in the Marvel games. You can unlock Howard.
Oh yeah. But I feel like that's not the Howard that I know and love. The Howard that I know and love is the one with a condom in his wallet. And that's not the Lego one.
George, show it off. Turn around, George. Is he frozen again? He's frozen again. Oh no. There you go. Go ahead. Turn around.
Yes. I genuinely love Howard the Duck, and it has such incredible stop motion. The go motion stuff in that is incredible. I mean, okay, so someone is a paedophile in it now. That's regrettable. Yeah. But everything else, I love.
Yeah.
Now we talked to the man who animated Howard's face today. He was the puppeteer for Howard.
Really?
Yep. Tim Rose, who also played Admiral Akbar. There's Howard in the Marvel game.
I was about to send it
talk
to
about
you.
flat feet. Look at those little webbers.
I'll say this.
That's nice.
When you're running around as Howard in that game, they're very flat, and they make you bounce because they're so flat. They're very
back.
That means that took extra time, because that means they had to build another walk cycle. So that shows you just the love that they have. That they were like, okay, we'll have them in there. We're gonna have to animate a whole set of animations. But
any talk about Lego Red Tails?
I don't believe so. Just because it's like, it's war. That isn't really Lego, is it? Really?
Right.
So I think that's the issue there.
It's about killing Nazis, though, and it's also about an inspirational story of these men.
I mean, I'll say this: they had a Lego Indiana Jones game, but I want a Lego Johnny Thunder game. Were you a Lego fan before working on the games, Graham?
I mean, as I was a fan of the plastic substance, yes, absolutely. Yeah. Who isn't, right? Yeah. Other than standing on it, it's amazing.
Watto, do you remember Johnny Thunder?
Yes, Johnny Thunder was Lego's proprietary adventure character before they started doing licensed properties, before Lego Star Wars came on and changed the game. And Johnny Thunder was kind of their Indiana Jones analog.
Yes.
Yes. He makes...
I remember it now.
A brief appearance in the Lego movie, and I actually think he is unlockable and playable in the Lego movie game.
Oh.
I think so.
I don't know, because those things, it's always like we have to have more characters than the last game, and so it's literally like who can we have? And that's why like in Lego City we didn't have that. So half of them are named after people I know, and half of them are named after people who work in the studio.
Right. This is Johnny Thunder. Yes.
We like Johnny Thunder. He needs to come back.
That's a great Tash. That is a great Touch.
Yeah.
Also, that's weird to see a gun, like a Lego gun, because it's like.
Also, does he, for that gun that's in his left hip, that's tucked in, when he pulls it, does he pull it out with his left hand and shoot it upside down?
That's a good question. He's got to grab it like this.
But that's like an impressive move to do. Like he pulls the one gun, he's got the one gun that way, and then he grabs the other one, flips it, sort of.
Yeah, he used to do this. He used to twist his hand outwards. It's tough to do with a little claw.
Yeah.
The North American Lego headquarters in my hometown.
Oh, really?
Okay.
I've been to the actual one. I've been to the one in Billund.
Yeah.
They have an airport there because of it.
Are there other characters in the Johnny Thunder universe, Patrick?
Yeah, there's like his dad who looks like Sean Connery.
All right.
Let me pull them all up.
Is there a Johnny Lightning?
Is there a Johnny? I don't think.
Joni. They don't also have to be boys.
He's asking if there's a lady named Joni Lightning.
Here we go. Hang on, I found them. I don't think there's a lady named Joni Lightning. There is a lady named Pippin Reed, though. That is
it's a good name.
Yeah.
I love a good name.
I love a good name too.
Dr. Kilroy, Pippin Reed. Oh my God. Do you know what his last friend's name is?
What?
He's got a friend who's like a pilot, right?
Yeah.
He's an aviator who flies him around.
The jock. The jock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. He's not in this photo, but this guy's name is Harry Kane, aka Hurricane. Because he flies in like
some
a
strong work.
That's
some strong work.
I'll tell you a couple of characters that these are right in my wheelhouse. All right, you want to hear some of the villains?
Yeah.
All right, Lord Sam Sinister, the thing is, and AKA Baron von Baron. Baron von Baron, which was one of Donald Trump's lesser-known aliases when he would call people and pretend to be an employee. But listen to some of these other bad guys. These are right out of the George Lucas playbook. I would have eaten up the Emperor Chang Wu, Maharaja Lalu, and Senor Palomar.
Yeah.
There's a big one you missed, George. It's Baron von Baron's henchman, his partner. His name is Sly Boots.
I like it.
That's a good name.
Yeah, I like Sly Boots.
See, so what you were saying was you need more characters. They got plenty of characters.
They got a lot of characters.
Right? There's a game right there. And they own the IP. It's free. It's free.
Exactly. It's free. You can make this game for $0.
Oh. Right now I'm thinking of all these names of characters, but I'm smart enough not to say them out loud now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, if you want to think of more bad guys that are from other places, that's what I would do. I think of where's a faraway place. Then I think of something that was part of that culture. Then I make them bad. Can't do that anymore. Can't do that in 2021. You gotta be smarter and nicer about everything. I try to be nice, but sometimes that was a bad habit I used to have, which is I think like, who's a bad guy? And I think who's far away from me right now, or who's not like me, and then I make him that bad guy, and then I won't be mad at me. I'd be like, I'm just a San Francisco liberal trying to do my best.
Yeah.
I just want to take a moment to spotlight. I'm trying to write a bad guy, and then I think, who's far away from me right now?
Ooh, like Stinky Alaska Sam.
Stinky Alaska.
Far away. Smelly Alaska Jim.
Oh no.
Who's far away?
It's a real shame that you can't do that now.
Next door neighbor. Because then it's like they come over, they're knocking on the door. Why'd you like? I would never name a bad guy, like local Marin County Chili's.
Too close.
They'd be very angry.
George, just give us one because you've already done it. So you're already, you've already blown through that signpost. What is give us one name that you would use.
I'm trying to think of one that won't get me canceled, Patrick. I know I haven't always been the best at this.
Yeah. All right. We'll let you think.
Hold on.
Graham, were there any characters that you didn't think you got the voice just right for, or ones that you were like, I nailed that one? I was really good at, Princess Leia or whatever.
Genuinely, I don't know. I would always try and say, when I write dialogue, I always try and say it in the voice of the person who will be saying it, right? Just to see, does it sound like a thing they're saying? Okay. But I mean, I never had any blowback from the actors portraying them. Like when we recorded with Carrie Fisher, she wasn't like, not saying this shit. Yeah. Because she was lovely, obviously. But I genuinely don't know. I feel like if I'd really royally fucked up, I would hope that someone at LucasArts would have been like, no. He would not use that particular racial epithet. He would use this one instead.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I can't believe it's taking George this long.
I keep Googling things and finding out you can't say them.
Oh, 2021 is a joyless time.
No, it's just, well, here's the thing. I'm not going to complain about it. All right. It just takes a little more work to be better.
Wow.
All right.
Wow.
Oh, that's a really good attitude.
It's just one of those things where it's like you hear a lot of people who are like angry because they can't do something they used to be able to do. Well, you know what? I used to like poop whenever I wanted, and other people would clean it up, and then I stopped being a baby. All right. That's how I feel about everyone who talks about cancel culture. It's basically, yeah, there are things you could do. Now you can't do them. Do something else. Just work a little bit harder to be a little bit better. And yeah. But anyway, I gotta say, it's just there's not a lot of options here.
So we're at 26:55:38 right now. I wanna get to 4,000 in the next 45 minutes. I mean,
look at the things we have ahead of us. Strawberry Homicide, K-19 the Apple Chomper, The Secret Life of Carrots 2, A Vegetarian Sausages, Pack Attack. Who knows what these would be? They're total mysteries.
These are our stretch goals, Graham. So once we hit it, we will
right.
We're not telling people what Strawberry Homicide means, but we will do, we have something in mind. So
it could be anything.
I'm just really happy. Because I genuinely thought that when Muggins came on, it would be like, how are the donations going backwards? This doesn't make sense. Because it's like, some person who wrote some video game. What do you do? Yeah. So no, I'm happy to see that it has. I assume it has trended upwards during the 46 minutes that I've been on. So yeah.
Yeah. No, we're people love this. People. The thing on our show is we like to talk to people who the viewers may not necessarily have heard from before, where it's like, this is an interesting part of the fast. But you know what I mean? Like, we had Julian Glover on earlier, and I feel it was so cool, and people were so excited to hear it. So it's been, it's a fun day of different types of people who have done different things in the Harrison orbit. And I'm not just saying orbit because we're raising money for an organization that flies people places to do different medical operations or whatever they need, called Wings of Hope. If you want to donate, bit.ly/GLTS Forward. It's down there in the corner.
I have one.
Okay, let's hear it, George.
Well, I noticed there was a skeleton in that. Can we bring up that? I don't know if he has a name. Is he a character?
I don't know if he has a name either.
All right, I just need that confirmed so I'm not treading on anyone's territory.
I don't think he has a name, George. I think he's just... Sometimes, George, a skeleton is just a skeleton.
Hey, great attitude. That should be the name of your book on comedy. So this character, he is he's a dead archaeologist who comes back to life as a skeleton. Like the skeleton comes back to life, Harryhausen style.
We should also mention that it appears he has no arms. He is an armless skeleton.
I think in my version I'd add arms, but maybe not. Maybe his arms don't get reanimated, whatever. But his name is Arizona Boner. And he's constantly making mistakes. That's how he gets his name.
He doesn't have arms.
ER at the end of both words.
Yeah. Oh, and even better.
Yeah. I was trying to think of a place I could insult, and I settled on Arizona. We're cool with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the way you circumvented the certain kind of risque implications of the name. You made it very clear he's named Arizona Boner because he makes a lot of mistakes. Mistakes like getting visibly aroused in public.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's not that you can't enjoy it on an adult level. Like an adult couple that at night they go to bed with one another. They can share a chuckle about the potential added layer of meaning of that character.
They can share one chuckle, but then it's time for bed.
Then it's time for bed.
Don't push your luck with the chuckle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Because I feel like it's fine to make fun of Arizona at this point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Graham, do you have any... I want to let you go in a few minutes because I don't want to take up your whole night. Do you have any questions that you've always wanted to ask George? Is there anything you've always wanted to know about Star Wars or any George-related project?
I want to know why no Howard the Duck 2, because I fucking loved that. And I know that financially it didn't do well, but you know what? what George wants, George gets.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing. Howard the Duck set the table for everything that's happening now. No Howard the Duck, you don't get Iron Man. You don't get Iron Man, then you don't get Infinity War. No Infinity War, guess what? No Endgame.
That's a great.
Yeah. You don't just make Endgame. You don't start the movie. Everyone's already been snapped out. So you have to think about these things. So everything happens at its right. I told everybody involved in Howard the Duck, this is a movie that's going to become a cult classic. And that's exactly what happened. It's the seed from which a mighty oak has grown. Patrick wouldn't have a job if I hadn't made Howard the Duck. He'd be completely unemployed. Right now, he'd be that couch you're living on. It would be you'd instead be on a couch out on the street. Found couch. You'd be a foundling. And so, did I want to make a Howard the Duck 2? I wanted nothing more. All of the seeds were planted. When you end that movie, the second Howard the Duck film, if I'm being completely honest, was going to be straight up just a concert film. Because you end with that great concert where he's there, he's with Cherry Bomb, and they're all, quack, 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 and the crowd's loving it. Setting the stage for the next film would just be a straight up concert movie. Because I got my start. My first film job was on the documentary "Gimme Shelter," which was the Rolling Stones classic Altamont concert film. And so my roots are in this. I know how to make a concert movie. I know how to work on a concert movie. And Howard the Duck was going to be like a concert film, but it would have a fictional plot. Because one of the things, obviously, that's terrible about "Gimme Shelter" is that actual people were killed.
Right, you don't like
do
that.
Way. You don't do it that way. That's like just like if you do a practical size Snoodles, you're going to break a man's arm. If you do a practical Millennium Falcon, guess what? You're going to shatter Harrison Ford's septuagenarian leg. You want to make what I wanted Howard the Duck would be like, "Gimme Shelter." Yeah.
No, I want to thank Graham for not shattering his digital leg as well.
Yeah.
The temptation must have been really there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wanted Howard the Duck 2 to be "Gimme Shelter," but this time, no Hell's Angels. Nobody get murdered. Let's do this. Let's do this the way it was meant to be.
Well, you wanted it to be about peace and love. You could have called it Duck Stock.
The what?
Duck Stock.
Oh,
Duck Stock.
Absolutely. Yeah, Duckapalooza.
It's strong. Strong.
Or get BB Newirth in there. Do Lilith Duck.
That's very stupid, George.
That's very stupid, George. That is very stupid.
Everyone's happy though. That kind of stupid makes everybody happy.
Yeah.
It's one of, I think, my favorite moments ever from our live stage shows back in the before times. I believe you gave BB Newirth yogurt. Is that what it was?
Yeah,
you gave her some sort of snack on stage. I think it was a yogurt.
Yeah.
And you said, "BB, do you want the yogurt?" And she said, "Sure." And she started eating it. And you said, "Now BB ate."
Yep, that holds up. I'll tell you another thing. The way that I pictured it, and Graham, this might not make sense to you, but I want you to give me your feedback on what it is. What I imagined would be we build this big outdoor concert venue.
Yeah.
But then in the entryway would be this giant wooden heart right at the door. Just right at the entranceway. I think it would be to show that this is a concert just about peace and love. And that's one of the things that's all of my movies are about love, on some level. And when they aren't about love, they're about killing Nazis. And I think those are two things, because that's one thing I actually love when it happens. I've never killed a Nazi, but I'll be honest, I would love to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. I think if you're doing a concert movie, a giant wooden heart is going to be a lot better than a pile of Nazi corpses.
Yeah.
As like a centerpiece.
Yeah.
Because the latter raises so many questions. It could be a distraction from the music.
But here's my take. Why not both?
Hey.
Oh, so like the heart like lifts to reveal a giant pile of Nazi corpses?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that feels deep. Like there's stuff going on that I will never process.
Or yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's some kind of, you make it into a murder mystery where you have to pull the heart out of the Nazi corpses and it's a wooden heart, and that's how you catch the killer.
Oh wow, a little bit of Temple of Doom, a little bit of Temple of Doom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Now that's I like that mashup.
Thank you. Graham, thank you so much for coming on. This has been really great.
My pleasure. It's been an absolute blast.
Good. I hope you come back at some point. Well, we'd love to have you.
I'd love to. I'd love to. I mean, if you can find some equally tenuous way to get me back,
we will absolutely. Yeah,
Graham, I promise you this: the next time we have you back, it will be even more tenuous. That's a guarantee.
That's better. Thank you. Oh, yeah. I look forward to being shoehorned in.
Yeah.
Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye, Graham.
Bye.
Buy tissues. He's out of tissues. I just noticed.
He's out of tissues. Graham, are you
out of tissues? You're out of tissues. Or you need to pull out. You need to pull out a liter.
I have got some tissue.
Okay. No, but look in the box. The tissue box though. There needs to you pull out a liter.
Oh yeah. No, it's okay. Look.
Yeah.
No, now it's empty. The back.
All I want now is for Graham to do a series of YouTube videos showing how to use a tissue box.
Now, I know we have a guest coming soon.
Hopefully, we'll see.
What are we at with the donation?
Oh, also here, Patrick, I have two pieces of good news.
Oh, who is this? John Krasinski? We're at 277038.
Okay, I want to say this. 277038.
Oh, which means we are at Strawberry Homicide. All right.
Okay, but I also want to say Watto needs to use the bathroom so badly. He really needs to use the bathroom. Would love to do it before this next guest shows up, but we need to hit 2,800.
Okay.
It's a strict
Strawberry Homicide. I'm going to say what Strawberry Homicide is, but also Let Watto P is the other one.
Strawberry 2,800. We're $20 away. $20 away. Less than.
Here's what Strawberry Homicide is. Strawberry Homicide. Patrick ordered a bunch of strawberries from Amazon. I need to cut them up before they go bad so I can put them in the freezer. This is Strawberry Homicide.
So he's not going to eat them. He's just going to murder the strawberry.
I'm going to bring my old friend out to watch.
Jersey Dave, if you are around, please refresh the donations while Patrick cuts these strawberries. I would love to pee so badly. $30. $30. 2,800 Watto gets to pee. Hashtag let Watto pee. $30.
I will keep an eye on it, and I'll refresh it every few minutes to see if we got there.
Essentially, we need about 7 $4 friends.
I think we could do that.
I think we could do it.
Here's what I want to ask our audience.
Yeah.
Do you think you're too good to be a $4 friend?
Yeah. If you're too good to be a $4 friend, then maybe you want to be a $5 friend, because we only need 6 of those to let Watto be.
No. Look how upset Mickey Knife is getting. So jealous, wants to be part of the Strawberry Homicide and is helpless. Just so eager, wants to chop those strawberries.
I'll say this: a lot of these strawberries not good already.
People are saying they can't donate less than $5 with the donation site set up.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Poor you
guys. Looks like you need to be a $5 friend.
You need to.
You need to. And Watto needs to pee. He chugged that whole energy drink. He's been drinking water out of the Watto straw. We've already been doing this show for 5 hours. Isn't that like...
It does not feel like that.
No, it's bizarre how much like getting to 5 hours or 4 hours or whatever on a Sunday feels like and effort. And then on marathon days, you're like, God, we barely started. You know? I know.
Because I'll say this. We got guest booked till after midnight.
Jesus.
Patrick, yeah.
What did you do to us?
Patrick, why did you do that?
Why did you do this?
Why did you do that? I looked at the schedule today and I said, why did he do that?
Well, it's because we had a full schedule.
I know, but hey, if any of those guests want to come earlier.
No, I think I think the way that it's scheduled is a very good way to have it scheduled.
Yeah, no, you're right, Patrick. It's a good way to have it scheduled so we have time for Patrick to chop strawberries on camera.
He's chopping strawberries.
Chopping strawberries.
Strawberries.
It's chopping strawberries!
We should have him on.
Yeah, Dana Carvey would be great. Dave, where are we at with the donations? Watto is in pain.
Let me refresh. Hang on. 295607.
Oh, baby, Watto's gonna go pee.
All right, good luck, Watto. Go pee.
He says Watto is in the stream with audio only. No, Watto wants to be releasing a stream with no audio.
George, how do you feel about today so far? What's been your favorite part so far?
Just meeting new friends and old friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a point where I felt like there was is there still a gap at like 11 p.m. and then a guest that comes on at midnight?
No, it's been filled.
That's been.
Listen,
I
I did as much juggling as I could to get some new people in and switch around some other people. So
yeah.
I believe there's only one more small gap, and it's around 6 p.m. I believe is the only time.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah. Anyways, George, what do you hope to get out of today? What are you trying? Because we want to get to $8,000. I don't know if it's going to be doable, but we want to get to $8,000.
Isn't it funny that we didn't ask for any Harrison stories from Julian?
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
The whole day's about Harrison. That seems like that would have been something that one of the three of us would have thought of.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
I think it was, well, we had plenty of stuff to talk with him about.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's because you had sort of like queued up in your mind a Harrison story previously, and then realized it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I think we put our minds away from it.
Yeah, I think so.
You should message him and ask if he has a Harrison story.
I wasn't messaging him direct, but
message whoever you need to do.
George, I'm glad you spotlighted it because I think that was an underrated moment on today's broadcast. Was Patrick knowingly saying, and Tim, I know you have this Harrison Ford story. And Tim immediately saying, I don't tell that story anymore.
If people want to Google it, they can find out what that story is.
I would also say Patrick has spent weeks hyping up to us this story. He texts us, he's like, George, Watto, you're going to like this story.
Yeah. I guarantee it. Yeah, it happens.
We've been calling him Patrick Lipton all week.
Yes.
Because he never stopped teeing up that story.
He was, yes, but the one thing he wouldn't do, he teed it up, but he wouldn't spill that tea.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Watto, what are you looking forward to today?
What am I looking forward to? The sweet release of sleep at the end of a 12-hour marathon. 14 hours? Jesus, I can't believe you booked someone through.
How Harrison's feeling about the show so far?
Oh,
give me a number.
Wait, say that again?
Give me a number.
Let's say 6.
6?
Yeah.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, he's not happy with this show.
Oh no! Oh no!
Hang on. Give me a number 1 to 11, and I have a random voice generator that'll tell us exactly how Harrison is feeling.
All right, 1 to 11. I'm gonna go with 3.
That slips my mind.
Great. A new element has been added to the show, one that will immediately be popular with our viewers.
Can I say 10?
Yeah, you can say 10. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
10.
Did you check your pockets? I can't find my earring.
He lost his earring.
He lost his earring. For a second, it sounded like he said urine.
That's what I thought.
Listen to it again.
I'll tell you.
Play that one again. Sounds like urine.
Could you check your pockets? I can't find my earring.
I think this is a good use of our time. Let's go through all of these phrases now so we know what we have available to us for the rest of the day.
Previously on Search Party.
Very
I remember that. That slips my mind. I don't remember working with you. That's not how I remember it on set. I remember things a little different. So what makes it a bad robot? Get off my plane. Someone stole my earring. Has anyone seen my earring? Could you check your pockets? I can't find my earring. What is Soup Plantation? At least Pee-wee Herman was in a X-rated movie theater. Hello, I am Mark Hamill.
We should have played that Pee-wee one when Watto was vibrating.
Yeah, I'm sure Julian would have loved that.
Yeah, he would have loved that.
Julian liked Watto.
Julian
I
likes
think
Watto.
Julian did. He got it.
Let's get some fan art that says Julian likes Watto.
Julian liked Watto.
Actually,
wait. Can we get like a Joni Loves Chachi style?
Let's go ahead and announce there's a show. Star Wars, Julian Loves Watto.
Not loves. I think it's funnier if it's Julian liked Watto. Past tense.
Yeah.
Liked Watto.
Star Wars, Julian likes Watto.
Yeah.
It was funny. Because he did.
Okay. Okay, I will say this. Mary Lynn Roscoe seemed to take a break from Twitter, but then she started saving again 20 minutes ago.
But none of our tweets.
None of our tweets. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could think of a backup if there's a backup.
A backup for the file.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the next, as far as the stretch goals, where are we at?
Where we must be close to
We're at
3,000. Yeah.
Let me see what our number is that we're at. We're at 302,107 right now, so we are at 3,000.
George!
Oh, so we're at the Secret Lives of Carrots too?
No, not yet, but we're definitely at the fugitive / K19, the Apple Chomper.
Okay, so now if we get up to 30, I only have no. That's 3,000. I need $4 more. $3 and
no. We're over 3,000. I just haven't.
I don't see it. I'm not eating these apples based on your word. I need to see it on the sheet.
Oh my God,
people go to prison.
Your word.
Like this.
Your word is worth nothing in this world, Patrick.
So I have a small window in which to enjoy these apples free of carrots.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat them fast.
Wow. Okay.
At 3,500, I have some great news, Patrick. I found 14 additional seconds of video of me performing the chew yourself M&M rap.
Is it after my 14?
I think so, yeah. It's definitely part of it is. Part of the 14 seconds will be all new material.
Make George full screen so we can really see this apple chomping clearly. K19, the apple chomper. They call him the fugitive.
The fugitive.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and eat an apple. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Gonna find you and eat this apple. Eating this food with my fingers. Filling the bowl with the app. Chomping these apples for this show. Chomping these apples for this show. Eating the whole bowl of apples. Eating some apples with my hands.
Keep going, baby.
The Fugees, ladies and gentlemen.
The Fugees.
Someone's saying Wyclef George.
So let's put those 14 seconds in at 3,500 to get the.
Oh, Smart Overcoat is saying K-19 the Apple Chomper, directed by Catherine Big Old Chew.
Well, and I want everyone to be rest assured I'm eating these apples fast because I don't want to mix them with the carrots.
Yeah.
But I'm chewing carefully because I don't want to choke and die on the stream.
That's a good choice, George.
Especially in COVID times, it must be said, never stop masticating.
George.
That means
Come on. George.
Mastication.
George.
I understand you're talking about mastication. At least Pee Wee Herman was in a restaurant.
George, I think you're forgetting about a morality clause, George.
No, mastication is not a vacation. You just spend masturbating. It's not like a staycation. Mastication is the act of chewing.
Yeah.
The C and the B are very different.
Okay. Okay.
And we're not talking, this is also, I want to say, just to be clear, this isn't some Army Hammer shit.
Wow.
When he masticates, no good.
He's chewing on the wrong things, on all of the wrong things. We have a firm no Army Hammer. Stop it stance here on the George Lucas Talk Show. We've been very clear on that.
Let's all say it. George, say our rule.
Army Hammer, you're banned from the show.
Stop it, Army. Stop it.
No, Army Hammer, stop it.
Not funny. No good. Very bad. Don't do it.
However, we are going to replace Army Hammer with a couple of new characters.
Can't wait.
Navy Wrench. An Air Force screwdriver.
Go on.
That's it?
And Coast Guard screwdriver.
Yeah, you're forgetting a big one, George. One that you would love.
Two. There are two big ones left on one side. And in terms of the toolbox, there are a lot of things left.
But George specifically loves one of these two that he's forgotten.
I mean, can I throw out one that isn't the one that Patrick's hinting at?
Yeah.
Marine crowbar. Marine's crowbar.
Oh, you could do George, do one with the one that
I'm going to break the pattern. I'm going to break the pattern just because it's cute, okay?
It better be cute.
Because this isn't a tool, but it's a character that's going to hang around all these tools, and it's Air Force be with you, and it's a bumblebee.
Wow.
Air Force be with you.
Just because I can't resist it, because it's basically the cutest character in the whole show.
Mm.
And did I make it clear it's two E's in the B part?
You did make it clear that it's two E's in the B part.
Freaking adorable.
I just dropped something into the chat. I don't know if Patrick or Dave can put it up, but it's an important piece of fan art that I think must be displayed. We cannot suppress this message.
If Dave could do it, that would be great.
If Dave could do it, that would be great. It would be great.
You want to hear? This is a long payoff for something I set up a long time ago. You want me to do my impression of all the CEOs of all the streaming companies?
Of course.
I got no strings to hold me down, to make me fret or make me frown. I had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me. Because none of them have strings.
Yeah.
I know. Sing it again, and I'm going to puppeteer my DVD of strings. So make me full screen, and George is going to sing this song again.
But George, sing it like James Spader.
It's been a while since I've seen Ultron.
But someone make me full screen.
Dave could do it. That would be great.
Somebody make me full screen.
We got to give Watto, the use of. Is Dave just not here? What's going on?
Dave just not.
There you go.
Okay, ready? George, 3, 2, 1. Ultron.
I got no strings to hold me down, to make me fret or make me frown. I had strings, but now I'm free. There are no strings on me. Hi ho, the merry oh, that's the only way to go. I want the world to know nothing ever worries me. I've got no strings, so I have fun. I'm not tied up to anyone. They've got strings, but you can see there are no strings on me. You have no strings, your arms is free to love me by the Zweedersee. Yeah, 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 if you would woo, I'd bust my strings for you.
Ugh.
You've got We're done.
We're done. I promise this. I forget. Oh, George, look at how red your face got. Wow. Oh, camera. I promise this. I'm going to give George this time to recover. I promised this several stretch goals ago. George, this is even worse than the last time you had to inflate DV8.
I think it's maybe more noticeable because his beard is so white today.
Very white and thin. His beard looks very thin.
Very thin.
Thick premise, thin beard. I promised this some stretch goal ago. I forgot to give it. Here is the synopsis from the back of the DVD for string. I like the idea that this show is just driving up search traffic for strings. Okay, ready?
Oh, this is what happens when guests don't show up.
Anders Ronau Carlin's stunning new film imagines a mythical kingdom populated entirely by stringed puppets. The Emperor of Babylon dies a dramatic death, taking a terrible grave.
Hey,
yep. What? You want to editorialize? What?
No, we have a guest, and I want to bring in our guest.
Oh, our guest is here.
Yes.
And we'll continue this synopsis later.
Can he not? Wait, give me a thumbs down if you're not ready yet. Give me a thumbs down.
Where?
I see your face. He has no. Okay, saying 1 sec. Keep reading, Watto. Keep reading. Keep reading.
Okay, I'll go faster, though. His young son, Haltara, is set to take over the throne. However, his uncle leads him to believe his father was murdered by Deseris, their sworn enemy. Forced to set out to avenge his father's death, Hal is unaware of the perils he is facing both inside his kingdom and out. As he faces new challenges on this journey, he ends up discovering the truth about his own people, and where he least expects it, he finds true love. A dramatic tale of adventure, bondage, and liberation, of love and war, destiny and vitality, identity and common humanity. Strings mixed together, a magical blend of themes that range from Shakespeare to Star Wars.
Wow. Okay.
91 minutes, not rated, English, animation / fantasy. Special features, behind the scenes, original trailer gallery, Filmography stereo 16:9. Strings. Okay, I think.
Watto, that's very funny. Thank you for reading that to us, Watto.
Sure. Our guest. Okay.
He'll be. We're figuring it out right now, Watto. We're figuring it out.
Okay. I'm looking in the private chat. Okay.
Watto, I did finish. This Febrrari homicide.
Thank God, people were on the edge of
Really, that was a roller coaster, Patrick.
It was a roller coaster.
If our guest is ready, he can just give me a thumbs up. Okay, all right, I'm gonna bring him in.
Okay.
Watto, do you wanna introduce Watto?
Yes. Folks, our next guest coming to the show. You might know him for his performance as young William Jones in The Age of Adelaide. He played young Harrison Ford, but he also has one of the best Harrison Ford impressions out there. He is an actor and a voiceover artist. Please welcome to the George Lucas Talk Show, Anthony Ingruber.
There he is.
Hey guys. How are you?
Anthony, how are you?
Hello.
I'm good, man. How's it going?
Good. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Awesome to be here digitally.
Yes.
The best.
So Anthony, I feel like a lot of people know your story, but what was it like getting that role, getting to play young Harrison?
I'm pretty sure like the 6-year-old me had like a brain aneurysm because I couldn't really figure it out at the time. I remember I got the call at like 2:00 in the morning from my agent because I'm in Holland, so like the time difference, and I just woke up the whole street because I was screaming like I got it, you know. So yeah, so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
And you had gone viral years earlier. You do many impression videos, but I feel like your Han Solo impression was the first one that really spread around because people were just astonished by A, how spot on your Harrison Ford was, an impression that few can do well, and B, how much you look like him on top of that. It is rare that someone, you often find lookalikes in movies who can't actually act, or you find people who can do the voice, but they don't look anything like the person. And you're kind of the complete package.
Yeah, I think it was actually like the first one that took off. I think that was in like 2006 or 7. I think I was like 17 when I made that, or 16.
Yeah.
And then it sort of went around for a couple of years, and then they were looking for they were referencing doing like reference photos or backstory for like a young Harrison Ford of what he looked like for that age. And it was really just a crazy thing because they needed someone who was exactly my age at the time. And the director found my impression and he was just like, okay, this guy will work. So then I did basically this, like an on-screen audition, and they sort of, sent a bunch of pictures and then they sent it to producers and they're just like, yeah, hire him. Like he's the guy. So it was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's cool. And when did you meet him? Because you guys obviously are not in any scenes together. I'm
not sure on that because the only scene where we kind of interact was like he's looking through the mirror, the window, and he sees me biking past.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was like his body double because you just see from behind.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was literally his last day. And I was like everyone's like little kid brother on the set. Like I was really nervous and stuff because I was just like, holy shit, it's my first film and I'm playing my childhood hero.
Sure.
So, it was, expectation and reality at the same time. It was just mental. But they were, I was sort of doing impressions on the set of like other actors as well, like just having fun and stuff. But they sort of said like, have you met Harrison? And I was like, no, but like, I don't know if he likes me. He's like, oh no, he likes you. Like he was making jokes about like, well, who helps this guy? So like, so they kind of wanted to see like what his reaction would be to meeting me.
Yeah.
So it was like his last day on set, and the crew went out of their way to arrange that for me. As he was wrapping up, they were like, "All right, come here, get your cameras and stuff." So yeah, it was amazing. It was like just a crazy experience.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the movie last night. I hadn't seen it, and it's fun and it's wild and it's weird, and I think people should watch it because it's a crazy movie.
It's a good film, though. Yes, it's a good film.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
But you were also, your Wikipedia says you were in Avatar too?
Yeah, in the same way that an ant on the background is in a movie, like, you know what I mean? Like I'm like a side thing. But I was working at Weta Workshop in New Zealand, where I went to high school, and I was interning there, and they were filming Avatar at the time. And they were like, "Oh, we need some extras for the film. Like, Anthony, how old are you, mate?" Like, "Oh, I'm 17. Like, "Okay, tell them you're 25. It's fine. Come on." So I was like on the set, and they were like, "How old are you again?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, 25." But yeah, so cool. Yeah.
I'm curious, Anthony. You seem like a guy who is very sort of methodical in how you crack an impression. People look at your YouTube and all these impressions you have. You can tell how carefully you've studied the actors, because you're not just getting their vocal intonations down, but you're getting the emotion right. You're getting their mannerisms right. It's real kind of full body, deeply felt acting. But there are a lot of people you do good impressions of that you look nothing like. You said that Harrison was kind of your childhood hero, but was there also a factor of people telling you, like, you look like Harrison Ford, you should figure out how to sound like him? Like, was it an impression you felt like you had to figure out at some point?
I don't know. It just kind of, I think I was, 6 years old, and I went to elementary school with like the hat and stuff, and they were like, "Okay," but at the same time, I also, like, the next day I would go as Elvis, and I would be like, singing in class. So it's just like every day with somebody else. But yeah, in high school, people, like, I remember my teachers in Australia were like, "Oh, mate, you look a bit like Harrison Ford. Can you do the voice?" I'm like, "Well, I can't talk like this, and for sure talk like that." And they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty good." So I would just just mess around with it and stuff. And there's other ones like Jack Nicholson was around at the same time, and before my voice broke, I was already doing the faces, so like I could do the face, but then like I couldn't do the voice yet, so it was like so it was just like things like that, but just mannerisms and stuff that I would just pick up on.
Is there anyone that you really tried to get and you just couldn't crack it for some reason?
Or anyone you're still working on now, but you haven't quite gotten there yet?
Yeah.
Well, it's weird. Like, Christopher Walken is the one that everybody does, but for some reason I just can't do it. I've never been able to do it. It's just weird. Like, I don't know. Quick though. Just to break. I'm sorry to break the fourth wall there. I do want to say to Griffin, my girlfriend's in the next room, and we are huge fans of The Tick. Because we started watching it at the end of last year, and I actually brought I made a mug for my girlfriend of her hugging The Tick. So and it was like, because we love that show. Yeah, it was really great.
Patrick, your roommate will be so excited to hear that.
You're talking about, of course, friend of the show, Griffin Newman, of course.
Yes.
The friend of him. Yeah. One of Watto's slaves.
Yes.
Watto. Oh, you're coming for Watto now with the Watto section. Anthony, this is another one I'm curious about, right? So, like, Harrison Ford, you've done the impression, they see it, they cast you because they go, "That's what we need. We need someone to play young Harrison in this movie," right? But one of the impressions you've done on your YouTube is the Heath Ledger Joker. And then you've also done a lot of Jack Nicholson, and his Joker is very similar to his natural speaking voice. And then you got to play the Joker in the Telltale video game series.
Yeah.
So as a guy who had refined 2 impressions of other Jokers, what was it like then to suddenly be hired and go, "Well, it's yours now"? Like, now you have to figure out how to make it your own,
Yeah, that was I think to this day, it's still something where I think like it probably would have been easier just to be like, I'm just going to do Mark Hamill's Joker voice. Why not? Call it a day, But they really were like, no, dude, you gotta do your own thing, So it was hard because I was really it was like Age of Adeline. That was my first movie, first ever voice job, the Joker, with Troy Baker. So I was like, shit, no pressure, man. But yeah, really the voice I kind of landed on was same as like Harrison Ford. Like I was such a huge Joker fan as well when I was a kid, and so I when you sing in the shower, I was practicing like, what would my Joker sound like? So I already had something in my head that I tried to sort of, and it was kind of like a blend of all of my favorite Joker actors, while trying to also not be like, I'm going to slip in a bit of Nicholson here. It's going to be super obvious, but not like try not to do that. But I wanted to do that, so it was, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that was kind of the trick, trying to combine all that stuff. But yeah, and it was really just figuring out as it went along, and yeah, a process.
Yeah. What was the scariest part of working on Age of Adeline? Like, it's your first big movie. What was the thing that was the most intimidating to you?
Yeah, literally going from, okay, I'm recording myself in the comfort of my own house to, just messing around doing impressions, which I feel comfortable with, to being on a set, playing Harrison Ford, who, maybe he doesn't like me, maybe he doesn't like it, maybe he finds it cheesy or corny. And of course the expectation of playing an icon like that and it has to be really good because I got like this much screen time, the whole thing was just really intense because I was so excited, but then at the same time, you get those nerves and those jitters and stuff, and that's really hard to throw out and stuff. But yeah, I would say the whole thing was really intense, but amazing. Yeah.
That's great.
When you finally did meet Harrison, hi Anthony, George Lucas.
I love your films, man.
Thank you. Oh, I wasn't fishing, but thank you. I do appreciate it. Did Harrison call you kid or kiddo or any kind of? Do you remember? Was there an affectionate pet name or anything like that, or young man? Was there any?
Yeah, not to me personally. To me, he has this sort of demeanor where people think he's quite gruff, like a bit like, what's going on over here? But with me, like when I met him, he was, he could see that I was nervous, of course, but I wasn't like a freak. I wasn't like, oh my God, but like, I approached him with respect and stuff, but he was so kind. And I told him like, you're my childhood hero. This is such an honor. He's like, oh, thanks. You're a very nice kid. Thanks. He like put his hand around me, and I was like, holy shit. And then after that, I cried for like 3 days, like ugly crying. I was totally composed when I met him, but yeah.
Did you get to feel the hand? Did he shake hands with you at any point?
Yeah. He shook my hand, and then he put his arm around me, and that's where that photo is. His arm is around me. You can't really see, but then he's like patting me on the back, like, it's okay, it's all good. So yeah, it was mental.
What did the hands feel like? Because there's a recurring
We've heard that he has very soft hands. That is what we have heard.
Well, I have very dainty hands. Like, I've got really, I've got like, never worked a day in your life artist hands. I don't know. To me, he felt like, like a solid oak tree. Like, like you could crush my palm. But yeah.
Strong but soft. I think, and that which I think is the key to his appeal is that he has a strength to him, but also a soft side.
Vulnerability. Yeah, it's the puppy dog eyes.
Yeah.
That's great. You're in a hotel right now. How is that going overseas?
Yeah, no, yeah, Holland. I lost complete track of the days because I was supposed to go tomorrow, and then I was going to do I was supposed to go yesterday, and then it got shifted. Like, so I'm like, oh no, I got another night, and then you messaged me, and I was like, oh shit, it's night, So I'm looking for my bathroom right now here in this hotel. So I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, in your defense, I think it is hard for all of us to know what day it is anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what year it is. I mean, it still feels like 2020. It's just, the calendar is going to have to be reset.
Maybe we'll do that. We should get on working on that. Well, this was super fun, Anthony. Thank you for coming on. It's been so much fun talking to you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I have to ask just quickly before you leave, due diligence. And I know, I understand if it's not something you can talk about, but you were kind of the fan favorite from the moment they announced that they were going to make a solo film. Everyone said like Ingruber. And I feel like John Kasdan had publicly confirmed that you auditioned at one point. Is that true?
Yeah. I auditioned a couple of times, I think. In London, I met the directors and stuff. And it was a pretty good experience. Like, it went well, I guess. It just sort of, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just sort of was like, I wasn't really party to all the information behind the scenes, but who is, but I wasn't that bummed out because I was kind of like, obviously the paycheck would have been amazing, but I already, sort of had the Harrison Ford experience and stuff. So I was kind of cool with it. Yeah.
That's good. Well, I'm glad that it was a good experience, and I'm glad that working on that movie was a lot of fun. That's always good to hear when it's a positive time and not a stressful negative time for everybody.
No, there's a lot of those stories as well.
Yeah. But thank you again. This was great.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Cool. Stay safe. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Right. What a nice guy.
Yeah,
a very nice guy, and I can't overstate. If you go to his YouTube, he started doing YouTube videos like 12 years ago when he was 17, and some of his impressions are just astonishing. The solo one is the first one you ever posted, and the one that went viral so much because of the resemblance. But then you watch how good he is at doing impressions of people he looks nothing like.
Yeah,
and it's clear that he's just an incredibly talented actor.
Watto, I hate to cut you off, but guess what?
Do we have another guest?
I got another guest.
What?
We got another guest. Watto, do you want to introduce him, or how do you want to do it? I
don't know. I mean, if we got the guest lined up, maybe you should just do it because you're holding the info right now.
I am holding the info, guys.
Bring all the cards.
Our next guest. This is a fun one. Our next guest played Indiana Jones.
What? All right. Well, this is very appropriate for today.
Yeah. Our next guest played Indiana Jones from ages 8 to 10 on the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Please welcome
so you're
Corey.
Telling me.
Hi guys.
Corey.
There he is.
Corey,
how's it going?
We just had the actor Anthony Ingruber who played young William Jones in Age of Adeline, and now we have young Indiana Jones. We're knocking these young Joneses out.
So I heard his introduction, and I was like, wait, am I on camera? Hold on, what's going on here? I ran over to the laptop, but glad to be here, guys. How's it going?
Good. Thank you
so much for doing this. Yes.
Yeah, no worries. I'm a little nervous, so be gentle with me.
Don't be
please.
You're going to be.
We'll be very gentle.
I appreciate it. Oh, okay, I see. Thank
you. Corey, how did you first get involved with the show?
So, I mean, it was just the basic casting process. It went on for a really long time, just in and out with casting directors, casting agents, and so on, getting moved up the food chain, so to speak, I guess. And then screen tested for it, and a lot of people went out for it, and I was very, very fortunate to get the part.
That's exciting. I know, George, you were watching one, and I watched, I think it was your first episode the other day, the one in Egypt.
Okay.
George, which one were you watching?
I was watching, I'm trying to remember where I was, because I watch them frequently, so it's not it's not uncommon for me to revisit them.
The Egypt episode is actually where George and I probably spent the most time together, because that being a pilot, he was, I think, a little more hands-on then, before he was spread thin, going back and forth between myself and Sean Patrick, the playing older young Indy.
So what was yours and George's interactions like? Because I don't know if George remembers. You know, he's getting up there. So you know.
No, it was great. He was a really nice guy. He had his family around on the set for a lot of it. Very genial, very uncle-esque sort of, very familial, very paternal, very nice guy. I had a great experience, as I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
Great. Well, it was, you know, we dipped our toe in the water with River Phoenix, seeing what Indiana Jones, but you were as young as we went. That was really the beginning of everything, and it allowed us to do some really fun stuff. The one I was revisiting this morning, which is one of my favorites, is City of Passion.
Vienna.
It was the one you hang around with. Passion for Life. When you're hanging around with Norman Rockwell.
Yeah, Lucas. That was fun. That was mostly shot in the Czech Republic, actually. That was a blast because being on set, we didn't always have a lot of kids around. So it was always a nice relief, basically, when we would get, like, Lucas would be there, or I think some of the old childhood stuff was, like, in North Carolina, and that was, like, Indies with his friends and stuff like that. So that was always a blast. Lucas was great. A lot of great stories hanging out with Lucas.
That's cool.
You can just call him George. You know, I mean, we're very casual here on this show.
Yes. Yeah. We call him George.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I just want to, we have a lot more questions for you, Corey, but I want to set something up here. Oh, there's a good pic.
There he is.
Oh, boy.
I want to set something up here, which is, can we get this spreadsheet for a moment on screen, Patrick?
Oh, yeah,
because,
sure.
of course, today we're raising money for Wings of Hope, which is a charity that Harrison Ford is on the board of. They take planes, they fly people to medical attention, they fly supplies to them, they do a lot of great crisis work. Now, we had put as $4,000 stretch goal pack attack. We said that $4,000 we would open packs of trading cards. Patrick, I feel like you should reveal what pack you have.
Hell yeah.
Because it is a pack of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. And God, if we could get $1,000 raised while Corey is still on the screen, we could have Corey comment on the card.
Oh, we'll see if there's any Corey cards.
We hope. And I'll show that my pack, to tease it, Phantom Menace Wide Vision, I would be able to comment if there was a Watto card. So let's just say,
if anyone's interested, sorry to cut you off there.
No,
it's yours.
If you get any of these cards and you send them my way, I'll be happy to sign anything and send it off to anyone interested.
Okay, here's what we'll do.
Yes.
I'll open these when we hit it. If there are any Corey cards, or if there aren't any Corey cards, maybe we'll auction these off and we'll mail them to people who donate. What should we say, Watto? What should our number be?
I think Corey says the number. Corey says the number, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. What are we?
So when we open these, I will send them to you, and I'll send you some addresses for people. We'll say the next, how many are in here? 10 cards. The next 10 $100 donations will get a card signed by Corey.
Okay, so
I'll probably send you off some other stuff too if I have anything fun. I don't know if I have any of the fedoras in the back, but I'll see what I can cook up.
So let's say that the next 10 people to send $100, that will get us to the 4,000 goal. And those 10 people are now guaranteed to get a signed card and perhaps a little something.
Maybe a little something else.
Maybe a little something else. So if you donate $100, just forward your email to the George Lucas Talk Show at gmail.com with your address, and we will get it all out to you.
And Watto, just to clarify, because I think there may have been a misunderstanding a second ago. When Corey was talking about hanging out with Lucas, he wasn't talking about hanging around with me. He was talking about hanging around with Lucas Haas, who played young Norman Rockwell.
Of course.
Yes. Young Norman
Rockwell.
Sorry, I was confused.
No, there's too many Lucases throwing around right now. That's fine.
So many Lucases.
Okay. I knew when we had Rockwell on the show, I made a point. I said, we are going to cast a Lucas to play Rockwell.
Yes.
Not me, but a young Lucas.
And I believe one of the freebies I might be able to send out. I might have a Lucas Haas Butterboy plate somewhere. I don't know if.
Oh my goodness, Corey.
I mean, I don't want to freak anyone out. I'm just saying.
Corey, you know your stuff.
Hey, I'm a big fan, guys. I'm a big fan. Extended universe here.
A Doughboy shirt.
A Doughboy shirt.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. You guys have been on my radar for a while, honestly, just to break the fourth wall. But when I got the message from Patrick, that was very, very cool. I was very excited. So I'm very happy to be here, and the charity thing just stacks it. So
Corey, you are, I believe, the first guest in the history of the show to bring up Butterboy before one of us does.
Yes, it's honestly
It has
a little
never
bit
happened.
mind-shattering. I feel like discombobulated now.
I was hoping the joke would land. I mean, I tried.
Oh, it landed.
It did. It did. It landed with like seismic ripples. Like the ground is shaking. The joke landed so hard.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yes.
I'll say this. We've gotten a lot of donations. We're getting there. Keep them coming. One card gone already.
Nice.
Wow.
One card has been accounted for.
Awesome.
Absolutely gone.
Here's a question for you, Corey. You played young Indiana Jones, one of America's greatest heroes.
Yeah.
You also played the young version of one of America's greatest villains, Richard Milhouse Nixon.
It's very true. It's very true. Yeah.
Did you find any commonalities between the two characters?
Other than my ugly mug, no, not a whole lot, really.
Hey!
It's very interesting. It's very interesting at a very young age to be told that as you proceed in age and get older, you could either end up looking much like Harrison Ford or much like Richard Milhouse Nixon. It's a very different trajectories there. So,
well, I have a
personality. You could go either way.
I have a commonality right here. Young Indiana Jones hangs out with young Norman Rockwell, who would go on to paint Richard Nixon.
Wow, look at that.
There you go. There you go.
Talk about an expanded universe.
Talk about an extended universe.
What was working with Oliver Stone like? How was that experience?
It was fantastic. It was. I think enough time has passed where I can give away a story where one day I was on set and we were just. I don't remember exactly what we were discussing, but it came up that I had not been allowed to see Natural Born Killers. My parents had sort of put the kibosh on it. They thought it was a little too violent. Yeah. And I had a big scene coming up like a week or so, maybe later, and we got someone, a PA came over and basically said, "Oh, Mr. Hopkins, or I'm sorry, this is an Oliver Stone note."
Yeah.
They said Mr. Stone wants to go over some lines for the upcoming scene, and so I went to his hotel room, a couple nights later, and he sat me down. He was on the phone. He was on a big phone call. He sat me down and he popped in the VHS of Natural Born Killers and hit play and just let like the first 45 minutes of it go. While I was just like,
wow.
Giant saucer eyes.
Great.
But he was great. He was other than that, I think my parents let him off the hook now at this point, all these years later. But he was great. And Mr. Hopkins was one of the greatest experiences ever being on set with him. He's such a professional, just really takes everyone under his wings, especially with me where they wanted some of our dialects and dialogue to be sort of similar. We did a lot of work on that and he had more than enough time for me. So it was an honor and a privilege. He was a great guy.
That is a movie where... Go ahead, Wada.
No, I was just going to ask what that process was like, working on matching your two performances. Was it sort of more him trying to pick up things from you, teaching you things that he had worked on, or trying to meet in the middle?
A little bit meet in the middle. I think he definitely was like, he portrayed it or framed it sort of like, oh, I want to pick up on some of your tendencies. But I think that was just him being a little humble. I think mostly it was intended for me to kind of pick up on what he was doing since he was going to be in the vast majority of the film. We definitely, like, a lot of cassettes and stuff were given so that I could like listen to those and like do sort of homework ahead of time and things like that. But yeah, we spent much more time than I would have guessed that he would have had for me just in doing that. It was a blast. It's something I'll never forget, honestly.
I want to say 2 cards are spoken for. 2 cards spoken for. We're doing pretty good. Go ahead, George.
Now, how old were you when you filmed Nixon?
So I want to say, because for me, the Indiana Jones thing, you can say I portrayed him from like 8 until 10, but honestly, the first block of filming itself was like 11 months just out of the country. And so for me, in my mind, it might have only been, like a 2-year window, but it felt like because we would go back and do so many reshoots and extra things that they wanted for like editing for like later in the series, just in terms of continuity, it took like a big chunk of my life. Nixon would have been, I want to say I would have been about 15, I feel, probably 14, 15. So a little bit after.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because Nixon was 95.
Okay. So yeah, that would put me right at 14 during the filming of it, maybe 14 and a half or so.
It's a very intense film.
Yeah, one I've only ever watched. I was, a long time ago, I was very much into politics, and that was something that I definitely was. It's amazing to be in, especially, just from a film direction or point of view, rather, the cast in that. But yeah, it's a hard film to watch at a young age.
Yeah. It feels like a movie that if people who are watching the show haven't seen, they should watch, because I feel like people who watch the show love like character actors and like meaty character actor parts, and that movie is chock full of them.
Yeah.
And it's also like 4 hours long, which is a great way to, we're all sitting at home being like, what should we do to pass the time? A nice 4-hour movie is great. We watched it a few months ago, and it's a wild movie.
It holds up. The only thing is, I remember distinctly for it every day. They had to like perm my hair and dye it jet black because young Richard Nixon, I guess, had like a really curly shock of hair. And so the last image that you see in the film, if I remember correctly, was my giant head with like a giant perm going on, like a big jet black perm.
Yeah.
Kind of creepy when you're a really young kid to see that.
And you were working mostly with Mary Steenburgen in that, yes?
Yeah, I remember the biggest scenes that we had, or at least for me, like the most dramatic scene was definitely like her and I in the kitchen. Yeah, she was also fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring something up that got sent to us, George. We got some fan art.
Okay, yeah.
Uh-oh. Okay, I like it. I'm here for it.
There he is.
Butter Corey.
Butter Corey, I like it.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to print those out, I'll sign those too. Whatever we got to do here to raise some more money, I'm game for it. Anything that comes in the mail from you guys, I'll sign it off and send it out.
That's amazing.
In a lot of ways, playing young Nixon, there are these mother issues, and there are these issues of what kind of man will he become, and then looking back, there's a lot of Anakin in Richard Nixon, and there's a lot of Richard Nixon in Anakin. These are stories that are very close to one another in terms of the journey that he goes on.
Diverging paths, yeah.
There was a point where I considered starting one of the Star Wars movies with Darth Vader trying to open up a bottle of prescription pills. They couldn't do it, and then he opens and the pills go everywhere, and he says, "Motherfucker!" But I knew it was wrong for the saga, and I thought this is probably better in a Nixon-esque kind of movie that's for more of a less of an all ages film.
Yeah, for sure.
Corey, oh my God, in the chat wants to know about your bear. Can we talk about the bear?
Yeah, the bear was sort of a reclamation project. I had some friends that were going to be moving out, and the bear needed a home, and he put my scarves and my bags. He's my buddy, and I don't have a whole lot of other interesting stuff to get in the frame here, so I figured the bear is good to roll with me. He's my Chewbacca.
Did you put the bears there specifically for this?
No, he actually is always there.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It would have been great. You're also in My Blue Heaven, which is great. That's a really fun movie.
Yeah, underrated one. A lot of people, it's not on their radar necessarily.
Yeah.
When you describe to people that movie, they kind of can't believe it exists because they're like, I feel like I would have heard about that. There's a movie that's ostensibly a sequel to Goodfellas. Like it's like actually based on the real reporting of what happened after Goodfellas in witness protection. It is written by Nora Ephron, who of course was married to Nicholas Pileggi, who wrote the Goodfellas book, and Steve Martin plays the Ray Liotta character.
It's wild.
Joan Cusack, Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick Moranis, yes.
Who were you around the most on set? Who did you have a lot of your scenes with?
That would have been Joan, most certainly Joan, and Jesse Bradford, another actor that may or may not be familiar with you guys. Later in his career, he was on The West Wing for a big extended chunk, and I think he was in Hackers. I want to say
listen, I'll say this. He wanted to come on. He was busy. He's also the son in is it Presumed Innocent?
Oh yeah. That sounds right. I totally forgot about that.
I believe he is the son of Presumed Innocent. Tried.
No, that sounds right. Actually, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it would have been me and Jesse mostly. Like we were brothers, so all of our scenes were together.
Yeah.
And a lot of Steve Martin, like messing our hair up and stuff like that.
Did you know who Steve Martin was at that point?
Yeah. So my father was a big Saturday Night Live fan, and so because of that, he was definitely like we used to get Comic Relief when it was on HBO and stuff like that. So comedy was always kind of something I was really, really into. So yeah, Steve Martin was definitely. I probably had seen The Jerk maybe, but definitely knew he was the star.
Yeah. Wow. It's exciting. You did a lot of cool stuff while you were very young, and I feel like that's got to be overwhelming for a child. Did you enjoy acting as a kid? Was it something that you wanted to keep doing, or like was it something where you're like, I should stop doing this?
No, it was a little bit of a combination of both. I continued to try and do it, but a lot of the circumstances, like I was living out in Los Angeles and I was out there for about 4 years following my graduating from college, and you have the auditioning here and there, but it ultimately became a lifestyle that I wasn't super into. I would definitely still be open to like opportunities here and there, but actively pursuing it and trying to be a working actor out in Los Angeles is a lot different than when you're young and you can kind of just go on these parts on the weekends, or when your parents can like take you out there and stuff. But I was always a fan of acting. I always took it very seriously and always really loved it.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Corey, like, were you an Indiana Jones fan at the time you were cast? And if so, how do you thread that needle in terms of like, you're actually canonically playing Indiana Jones now? Is it an impression? Are you making it your own? Do you treat it like you're sort of playing pretend? Or yes, how did you get your head around all of that?
Yeah, so Indiana Jones was definitely something. So it's funny, actually, because I can contrast it later to the Star Wars universe and just how my friends reacted to me being sort of in that extended world, because I was an Indiana Jones fan, definitely. Very early on in the process of filming it, though, I was George and Rick McCallum, one of the producers on it, who was very hands-on, who was there, very frequently. I'm sure, George, you remember. It was ingrained. It was definitely made a thing that they didn't want this to be a Harrison Ford impression. They didn't want that. They wanted it more to be, a kid basically, like having the experiences that would turn somebody into an Indiana Jones or a Harrison Ford, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, they didn't want any sort of like the mannerisms that you would see that we were talking about a little bit with Nixon. There was definitely nothing like that with on Indiana Jones. It was more just like subtle nods, like you would see like the journal that they had me keeping within the show was also a journal that they had me actually filling out in my own real life. That was a prop that would pop up in the movies from time to time too. So little things like that, little nods were, I think, more what they were stressing more than me coming out there and doing an Indiana Jones impression.
Indiana Jones is also just one of those characters, especially in that era, that like kids everywhere are playing pretend as in their backyards and on school grounds and stuff. Like, was there any time when you were caught up in the action, you're doing sort of like adventurous Indiana Jones stuff, where you sort of get lost in your head of just like, I'm doing it,
Oh yeah. No, there were definitely like from time to time. I mean, with Sean Patrick Flannery's episodes, a lot of those I think caught more of the public's interest because a lot of them were more action forward. With my episodes, they tended to be more like formative years kind of stuff, and in that way, a lot of the characters, the historical characters that I was supposed to be interacting with, established what the plot was more so than the action driving the narrative. But yeah, there were definitely, I would say in just about every episode, there's a moment when Indy would get up to some sort of trouble and I had to do some sort of stunt work and things like that. And that was always a blast because, I mean, you're there doing it. You don't have the whip necessarily, but you're the guy. You're the guy on set. When they say action, yeah, exactly. When they say action, you're contributing to the Indiana Jones universe. And even if it is, like being at the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, like learning these experiments, that was something we actually did. And so it's got the sound effects. Very nice. I like it.
I had to turn it on and off. It wasn't working at first. No, go on.
I'm here for it. No, but that was it. Yeah, no, definitely anytime there were like stunt work or things like that, it was always an extra added blast to be like kind of understanding that I'm contributing to that universe, which I was already a fan of. What I was saying earlier, though, is the Lucas family is very, very charitable, and around the holidays every year, my family, we would always get gift baskets. My sister and I, my whole family, when we did the filming, my whole family went around because it was for such a long period of time. They didn't want us away from my mom and my sister and so on. So my whole family went, and so around the holidays we would get these big gift baskets. My mom would get one, my father would get one, my sister would get one, and I would get one. And every single year they would just be crammed with Star Wars merchandise, just like because the Phantom Menace was coming up around. And so we would just get all of these toys, and the Star Wars universe meant real little to me. I just had never seen the movies. I hadn't, like, now, of course, I'm a big fan, but at the time that wasn't something that it just didn't feel like something I was going to be super interested in until I would say I first watched all of the movies about 10 years ago for the first time. And my wife and I watched them together, actually, and we got so into it and we fell in love. And I was just like, oh my God, hon, wait. And we went back to my mom's place and we went into the basement and just unearthed all of these trunks worth
that's what Indiana Jones does. That's Indiana Jones type behavior. You go find these treasures and unearth them.
Right.
Yeah,
It was like the haul of all the crates in Indiana Jones.
And because it was for my sister and I had everything in duplicates, so I could keep one C-3PO talking bank and give the other one off to my friends, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. But at the time, my friends, of course, hated me because they were all, I was, a little bit of a nerd, and so all my friends were like, "You've got this, and it's all wasted on you," and so on and so forth. But finally, I was able to enjoy it. So, Mr. Lucas, George, thank you for all the toys. Finally, thank you. All these years later.
How many? Do you remember how many different countries did you get to go to when we were making? Because we were filming it. I don't think people realized it was such an international production. Like people who, because it's harder to find now. I mean, you can find a lot of it on YouTube. You can find a lot of different edited highlights and things like that. But the actual original versions of them, it really was such a, like they talk about how it sort of set the stage for how like Game of Thrones films in many different countries, which is not what most TV shows try to film in one room if they can, and build all the stuff there.
I couldn't give you a count, honestly. I will say that the bear, actually, this is true. The bear is on a giant trunk that we had that we used during the filming of all of this. And just in looking, I can see like the stickers from like, what is this? The 92 Barcelona like Olympics is on there. We've got stickers from Kenya, from like a bunch of places. I couldn't give you a count, but I will say it was like an experience of a lifetime because everything was shot on location, and in some instances I think some were substituted for one another, but that was more because of like a timeline with the shooting thing. So I believe like we were in Egypt, but then I believe also we filmed some of the Egypt episode in Spain, and so for me like the chronology of everything gets a little bit jumbled because we were going back and forth and it took up such a big chunk of time that it's hard for me to remember, which is a gift, honestly. I should, an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
Corey, if they came to you and they said, Corey, we need to make Indiana Jones 5. He's chomping at the bit. He really needs to make this movie now. But we'll only do what you tell us we should do for the next movie. What would you make the next Indiana Jones?
See, it was funny actually, because being on set, I can remember even as far back as when this was filming, hearing rumors about like what Indiana Jones 4 would be about, and so on. And so when Indiana Jones 4 came out, it was a very big surprise. Just the plot in general, that was never something that I'd heard thrown around. But I will say that the rumors that I'm hearing about 5, which I'm sure you guys have probably caught wind of, that sounds very on point. When I hear those rumors, that makes me, I give that a lot of credence. I've heard some other ones over the years, and I've thought that it didn't really land with me so much as when I heard I think it's the Fountain of Youth, I think is going to be what I've heard for the next one.
We'll see.
Well,
saying
look,
that
what I've heard, I don't know if I'm stepping on any NDAs here, but they usually don't title the movies that overtly, right? It's like whatever the MacGuffin is, they're maybe trying to sort of hide the real plot in the film. I heard that the title they're currently working with is Indiana Jones and the Cavern of Watto.
I heard that too. Yeah, even way back then. So that was crazy.
Wow. The Cavern of the Watto.
Yeah. Well, so when Phantom Menace came out, I felt like I already knew you.
You were like, oh, he must have a cavern. I know he has a junk shop, but he must also have a cavern.
Right. Well, originally, I remember it was based on a cousin of yours. I think it was originally going to be red, but then when I saw that you were blue, I was like, oh, it's the same. It's the same character. They've just workshopped it a little bit.
Well, I mean, Corey, I don't know if you know this, but Watto has developed some range today.
I saw a little bit earlier. You were on the fritz a little bit there.
That could be green Watto.
We like blue Watto though.
Yeah. Back in the blue screen is the old one, right? Was it a blue screen first and then green screen?
Yes, correct.
Blue screen set was the
blue screen when we were doing Star Wars. It was blue screen.
Okay, that sounds right.
When we were doing 4, 5, and 6. Yeah.
People want to see red Watto. Can we get red Watto?
I'm way ahead of you. Hold on, just give me a moment.
Now, if they came to you and said for Indy 5, if they do go with the Fountain, and again, I'm not really, I sort of took my ball and went home as far as Indiana Jones stories goes at this point. But if they wanted to do Fountain of Youth and they wanted to do have him shrink down to CGI 10-year-old, would you be willing to? Because I don't believe your likeness rights. I don't know how ironclad the deal was as far as whether they have they have the right to replicate you at age 10 for young Indiana, because that's canon.
Yeah.
Would you be
I don't know for sure actually with that. That's a good question.
Would you be willing to motion cap you and play 10-year-old Indiana Jones again?
Yeah, I can make that happen.
Circus Ahmed Best style.
Yeah, no, I can make that happen.
Oh, Red Watto is here.
Yeah.
Honestly, Red Watto looks a little bit like the Ferry Shepherd Obama Hope poster.
Yeah.
It looks like it would just say, instead of hope, it would say junk.
Yeah. I mean, George, we just stumbled upon that's a scoop.
There's got to be a Red Wings joke in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, the wings are not red. They're the one part that's not getting changed. Yes.
Yeah, scoop that CGI 10-year-old Indy is in play.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, I think I could make that happen, Corey Carrier, Indiana Jones 5. I think that's the scoop that Deadline's going to run with now. If you need me, I'm here. You know?
Honestly, I think if they're smart, I think the future of a vibrant future for an Indiana Jones franchise, if you look at Steve's Tintin movie, it's one of the best Indiana Jones movies ever made.
Yes, agreed. Hard to agree.
A lot of drinking.
The what?
A lot of drinking in that movie. I was very surprised because I love it. Actually, it's very funny because a byproduct of like traveling around so much, as Tintin was not on my radar, but as you're traveling from country to country, the Tintin comics are actually something that you can almost always find easily translated into English at like an airport here and there. Yeah. So those, I used to love reading those actually as we traveled around.
Yeah.
But that movie, I don't know. I had high hopes for it, I guess.
Well, action, I just mean in terms of the action and spectacle of it, that is a way that you could keep making Indiana Jones movies regardless of because a lot of the time the question would be, well, is Harrison going to play him or who's going to play him? But you could keep making Indiana Jones movies and you could take lots of risks because I feel like now at this point, like one of the things that when we were making Chronicles was that we could play around and do things that were unexpected. We could do a whole episode where young Indiana hangs around with Norman Rockwell and goes and meets all the famous artists. Whereas if that had been a movie, I think people would have said, no, that can't be a movie because it's gotta fit the template of what we expect from an Indiana Jones movie. And I feel like the more Indiana Jones they make, the more you can kind of play around with that. That you can have him take some interesting. Oh, look at this fan art.
It's great.
Norman Rockwell, young Indiana
Jones. The bear is there.
The
bear is there. That's awesome.
There.
Whoever did that, thank you. I like that.
Goldie Thrawn, that's a good one. That's very funny. Who would you have wanted to play in a Star? Well, I guess you didn't care about Star Wars when they were making Star Wars, so it doesn't matter.
No, but now, who would you play now if they could offer you any part?
A character from the Star Wars universe that I'd be interested in playing?
Or it could be a new character. It doesn't have to be a pre-existing one.
What type of character? If you could create your own.
I would love to hang out with Finn and have like a big adventure with Finn. That'd be awesome. Like say like maybe like almost a whole feature film length movie where it's a lot about Finn.
Okay. We need more Finn. We need more Finn.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is great. So we'll keep an eye on. I mean, listen, we're not at the 4,000 yet, so we can't open these.
Where are we right now?
338215. So we got a little bit, but I think we will open them later.
Okay.
And then we will get these out to you, and we'll send them out to people.
Pack attack.
Corey, thank you for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
Nice to see you.
You're really
Thanks
great.
for having me, guys. This was a blast. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. I've been watching all day. You've had some really great guests. I'm looking forward to seeing who's coming on for the rest of the night.
We'll see. We'll see. Come back
see.
anytime. Come back anytime.
I'm going to hold you to it. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
All right. See you, buddy.
Bye, Corey.
Take care.
Oh, it's so great to see Corey.
Very fun.
So good to see him. It's been so long for you, George.
Oh yeah, it's been a while. He's great. And it really, if you haven't seen those, and I want to. There's something we've done this in the live show. I don't know that I've read this out on the live stream before, but there is.
You should. This is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah. All right. I'll go ahead and I'll tweet this out as well. I've tweeted this out before, but this is how to watch Indiana Jones, because it's not easy. If you want to watch Indiana Jones the right way, it's going to take a little bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be smooth because you're going to have to go to multiple sources.
Mm-hmm.
All right. First thing you watch are all of the scenes with Corey, all of the episodes, all the adventures of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, where we see Indiana Jones at age 10. And there's an order. It's very easy to sequence these because they go in historical order. What are you laughing at, Pat? Oh, you're laughing at the rainbow?
Yeah, I'm laughing at Watto. And his new
Hashtag
name.
Watto says gay rights. Watto wants to support gay rights.
I love woke Watto.
Woke Watto. Hashtag woke Watto.
Hashtag woke Watto. Watto says gay rights.
All right, so first you watch all of Corey as Indy. Then you pull out Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You watch the prologue only, just the River Phoenix sequence. All right, this is 13-year-old Indiana Jones, young Henry Jones Jr. Then you go back to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles and you watch all of the scenes, all of the episodes where Indy is played by Sean Patrick Flannery, age 16 to 21. Then you watch Temple of Doom because it takes place before Raiders. Then you watch Raiders. Then you go back and you finish Last Crusade from the end of the prologue through the end of that movie. Then you watch the bearded Harrison Ford scenes from Indiana Jones and the Mystery of the Blues. These take place after Last Crusade, around the same time that Richard Kimball in The Fugitive is framed for murder, and he has a big beard before he gets into the train wreck. So that's why Harrison had the big salt and pepper beard. Then you watch Crystal Skull. Then you wait until Indy 5 comes out. You wait. If you're bored, watch the Tintin movie, but that's not part of the chronology. You wait for Indy 5, and then once Indy 5 is done, once it's out and you watch it, then you go to YouTube and you watch the supercut of all of the framing scenes of one-eyed Indiana Jones, age 93, that I did not include on the DVD release of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. So I'm going to tweet out this order. It's very easy. And it's just an easy, fun way. Because the thing is, nothing Indiana Jones ever does is easy. No. It's always snakes or
adventure isn't easy.
Booby traps, you know. And so we made it a little bit like it's an archaeology expedition to enjoy these adventures of Indiana Jones. What are you looking at, Patrick? You're looking so intently at something.
I'm trying to get something figured out.
I've sent you two things, Patrick. I've sent you the 14 seconds. Where are we at as far as is it at The Secret Life of Carrots 2?
We must be close to The Secret Life of Carrots 2.
Hang on one sec. I'm just trying to. We're having a guest.
We're having
a guest thing, and I'm trying to get it fixed.
All right. Patrick is fixing the guests.
Now, George, I hate to tell you this, but you're actually wrong. You forgot something.
What did I forget?
You forgot Indiana Jones Temple of the Forbidden Eye.
The video game?
The Disneyland ride.
Yeah, we don't do theater pieces. This is just
but there are filmed pieces to that ride.
Right. Yeah, but those are part of a theatrical art installation, essentially. I also didn't include any video game stuff. This is just, those are all legends. Those are all Indiana Jones legends. The ride is a participatory event. Every time it's essentially different. Every time a different audience is part of the ride, it changes it.
Yeah.
So it can't be part of the continuity. But if you're looking for the full experience, you still have to wait until the pandemic's over.
Also, Watto wants to say trans rights now. Trans lives matter. Woke Watto.
I will say that the current striping makes your nose look more phallic than usual.
Yeah, it has never looked more phallic. There's a weird, make Watto full screen. There's a weirdness going on to the angle of the Watto nose and the way it's rendering that really makes it look like there's
I don't like that.
Between the shaft and the head.
Watto,
hang on, George.
I'm just going to give Watto a note real quick. Can you just nod your head a little bit like that? And I just want to.
I don't like that. George Watto, we have a guest, and I want to introduce our guest.
All right.
Our guest today, I'm very excited for. She was the performance double for Rachel in Blade Runner 2049.
What?
Please welcome Loren Peta to the show.
Hello,
Hi, Loren. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me on.
How are you doing? How are you feeling being holed up? Because you're out in the UK right now, right?
I am. I'm in sunny London. That's right.
Yeah. How has your last year been? What have you been doing to keep yourself busy?
I've been eating a lot of cake.
Yeah.
That's
good.
And that's all I remember. It's all a blur.
Yeah.
It's a blur of just cake consuming, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not allowed out. We're not allowed. We've basically been in lockdown for a year. And there's no sign of that ending anytime soon. So yeah, it's been uninteresting.
So Loren, today we're talking obviously about Harrison Ford, and we're talking to a bunch of people who worked with Harrison Ford. And you worked with him in a really great movie. I really love Blade Runner 2049. I like it more than I like Blade Runner. There's a little tip for everybody.
Controversial.
Yes, controversial. How did you get to be a part of that?
Well, as what happens, you get a random call one day from your agent, and the difference between this and every other audition I've ever had was I had no idea what I was auditioning for. So I basically had to go in with a script from Ex Machina. I don't know if you've seen
seen that.
Yeah. And it was the scene where Ava meets Caleb. So yeah, I didn't know what it was for. And then I had another audition and didn't know what it was for. I think I had a third audition, still didn't know what it was for. And then the next thing, I'm on a plane to Budapest to meet Denis Villeneuve. And I still didn't know what it was for. So I didn't know what it was for until I was in a room with him and he told me. So it was, bizarre.
Wow. I'm going to bring up this picture because this shows what you had to go through, which I feel like you lucked out that you only had a few dots on your face. I feel like a lot of people
see them, so I didn't mind.
Yeah. What was the experience like getting to play another character and having to bring the physicality of that character back to life?
I really felt the pressure is one way to put it. Because we didn't actually film the scene until September, but I was cast back in May. So I think I was one of the first ones to be cast because of the complexity of what they had to do to create my character. So I had sort of between May and September, I had several trips out to Budapest. I had a trip to LA where I got to meet John Nelson and his team. And that was, that was definitely one of the most sort of fun parts for me, I think. Just because they were so excited because it was such advanced kind of technology. So there was a lot of, I think I was surrounded by sort of 20, 30 people the whole time I was there, because there was so much involved, I guess. Now, I would like to get really technical with you guys.
Please.
Great, let's do it.
But I'm probably going to use words like thing. A lot. Sure. Because I don't really understand it. But they did, with great enthusiasm, explain everything to me with what they were doing in great detail, of course, which absolutely went right in here and out there. But it was quite a complicated process. I got put in this dome for several hours where there was tens and tens and tens of cameras, and I had to go through like hundreds of different facial expressions so they could basically capture every essence of my skin and bone and muscle. And then I had to say, I think, go sort of through the alphabet in every sentence, so my face was captured in any possible word. And then I did the motion capture stuff. So it was all over the course of one day, and it was a very, very, very long day. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. And it was very, very cool what they do there.
Yeah, and it looks great. I want to bring this back up because it's just crazy. It's crazy that they can do it, and it's crazy that it looks good.
Now, Loren, do you know where that information is stored?
Can you say that in a different way?
Yeah. Well, they were essentially capturing all the they were digitizing you. They were making it possible to make a digital version of you. They were getting all the information they could. Do they still have that information? The people who are capturing is that on a hard drive somewhere? Is there
make another digital Loren? Is what we're asking.
Right. I would be really surprised if it's not, because they did show me a lot of previous kind of stuff that they've done when they were kind of explaining to me what they were going to do.
But there was no conversation along the lines of, when you're done with this, we're going to put this in the recycle bin. We're going to click empty. Don't worry, we're not keeping you. We're not going to keep digital, Loren.
That happened to Watto once. You need to understand, Watto, I am CGI from the Phantom Menace movie, and 1 week I couldn't be on the show because the computer overheated. And the only reason I'm still here is George had me saved on a UCB drive, a USB drive. Unfortunately, we couldn't save
the UCB drive.
We started with a UCB drive. That's how we started the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, it's often a problem where you delete digital people.
Well, I've got a really good eye. I did actually pick up that you were CGI.
You can tell.
It's subtle, but
you can tell because you've done the work. You've done the work. Yes.
Yeah,
Loren,
I knew.
Well, okay, I have a question for you, Loren. How do we know we're talking to the real Loren?
You will never know.
But I think there's a tell here, because CGI knows CGI, and the fact that you were able to tell that Watto is CGI makes me suspect that what we are talking to is the replicant.
You know what? Everything they captured with me, I had to do an American accent. So it's probably pretty obvious with the sound that's coming out of my dulcet tones coming out of my mouth.
Right.
Did they make you do a Sean Young accent, or was it just a general American accent?
Well, I think you can probably tell in the film, because how I look at it was I didn't have to be Sean Young. I had to be a replicant of Rachel.
Yeah.
So although, there's something really bizarre as an actor when you get a role, you have a certain amount of creative freedom with that role. And with this one, I had to replicate a character that already exists. So I must have, and I have never seen Blade Runner before. So I think I watched the entire film about 50 times, and certainly the scenes with Rachel in hundreds of times to get the walk and the voice and the little nuances with her face when she talks. So I had months and months and months of what felt like a lot of work.
Yeah.
But on the other sense, she was a replicant, so that's quite, she wasn't, I wasn't playing Rachel, I was playing the replicant of Rachel.
Sure. Right.
Sure.
And replicants are never going to be perfect, right?
Oh, yeah. Now, Loren, did you ever watch Friends, the TV show?
Yeah.
Were you ever nervous that you were going to go into the wrong Rachel?
George.
Like, was there ever a moment? Well, I'm not,
She just told you she watched the movie 50 times.
Well, how many?
And you insult her by implying she might accidentally slip into the wrong Rachel. She knows her Rachel, George. She's a professional, Loren.
Oh,
I mean,
Rachel Green had a haircut
screen
named
acting
after
is you've
her.
got loads of different takes, right? So you can always just say
I'm just saying there are a lot more episodes of Friends. So even if you only watch the series one time all the way through, that's more than watching Blade Runner 50 times.
George, she's a professional.
I did watch a bit of Friends, but Friends kind of came out when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I wasn't allowed to watch what I wanted. I had to watch what my dad watched.
What did your dad watch?
Well, so my dad watched a lot of James Bond.
Mhm.
So I've seen all the James Bonds. And they watched the ABC. So in Australia, the ABC, weirdly, has all the British shows. So I watched a lot of like The Bill. I don't know if you're aware of it.
I'm aware of The Bill. Yeah, it's sort of like the UK Law and Order in a way. It's sort of the thing that every actor. It's sort of there are more episodes of The Bill, I believe, than Law and Order, even because it's more regularly and it's a little bit lower budget. But it's sort
Absolutely
of like,
Fabulous. You had to get that in the States, right?
Yeah.
I think I saw it. I did actually live in Philadelphia for 4 years between I think it was 2008 and 2012. And I think Ab Fab was like on repeat there. So I think you guys like that, right? Absolutely Fabulous.
Yeah.
This Wheel's
Absolutely.
on Fire.
Yes.
Did you get to meet with Sean Young?
Yes, I did. I didn't spend a whole lot of time with her, but I did get to meet her, which I was really honored to do. So, that was fun. And she was kind of helping out on set. Yeah. There was this one moment, actually, which was this one day, which was kind of funny and stressful. When am I allowed to say what? I mean, you've all seen it. Am I allowed to say what happens? Because it would be
Go for it.
Right. Okay. Sure. So the set or the part that, because even though it was one scene, I think we actually shot for the whole week with that one scene. So there was one day we were working on when I got shot, and it was quite a process because of my whole get up, my hair and everything, and the way it was like perfectly in place. And I had the outfit, which I couldn't walk very much in. So every time I got shot, I was standing kind of, they cut a hole in a, what do you call them? The foam thingies that I could fall on. What are they called?
Like a mat? Like a mat or something?
Yeah, sure.
So I would fall on that, but I couldn't get back up because I couldn't really separate my legs because of the pencil skirt, and my heels were so high and my hair would fall. And we were it's sort of the end of the day. We were going for like 16 hours and everyone was really tired. It was like 10 o'clock at night. So we needed to get me back in order so we could reshoot this. And Sylvia, she undoes her zip and gets her gun out, and her zip kept getting stuck, but we would still go through the scene, but it meant that we would have to do it again. So we had to do it so many times.
Yeah.
But so every single time we couldn't just reset. They had to, everyone had to run over, and the stylist had to go back and do my hair. And Sean would run over and help. And there was this one point where, I had like a million bobby pins in my hair. Do you call them bobby pins? Yeah. And one of them fell out, and it fell down the back of my top, down my skirt, and into my butt crack.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, this needs to come out because this is so uncomfortable. And she was like, don't worry, honey, I got it. Unzips my skirt, shoves her hand down there, zips it back up. She was a bit of a hero that day.
Yeah, that's great.
There are two questions I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. One, I've seen echoed by a lot of people in the chat since the moment you came on screen, and you just alluded to it. The hair. You have quite the hairstyle in that movie. What was the process of getting that hair ready? How long did it take? How hard was it to maintain? Because it looks like it's like a Frank Gehry building. It's like a very intricate structure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was a wig. Yep. So it was a wig.
Yeah.
It was amazing, wasn't it? It was something that was a huge point of discussion, as well as, what I was gonna end up wearing. So they ended up going with the wig because I just don't think my hair would have kind of done what that did.
Yeah.
And it took quite a long time to put on. They have to kind of almost glue your own hair to your face and stick that on. So yeah, hence every time sort of I'd fall over when I got shot, it would fall to pieces and they'd put that back on. But they did an amazing job, didn't they?
It looks great.
Yeah.
It looks great.
My other big question for you, just because it's the reason for the season here on the George Lucas Talk Show, But what it was like working with Harrison, I think that's truly one of his best performances ever in that movie. And it's certainly one of his most sort of surprisingly emotional performances. And that scene where he sees you for the first time is one of those moments that's very unlike anything you've seen him do on screen before in terms of its delicacy and its intimacy. What was it like to be on the other side of that? And what was it like to work with him for the whole week?
It was quite fascinating in the sense that, so he's just a normal guy, right? He wouldn't just go back to his green room every time we had to reset the scene. He'd kind of walk around set and talk to everyone, and he'd go up to people and say, "Oh, what's your job?" And he's just interested and just a nice guy,
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's really interesting to see how, what actors need to do to get to that place. And you've got Harrison on one side, and you've got like Jared on the other, who I didn't actually ever get to meet Jared because he was in character the entire time, which was interesting. And then you've got Harrison, he'd just be talking to me in between shots about the weather, and then they'd say action, and the next thing is crying, and I'm like, how do you do that? And he's just been around he just knows what he's doing now, doesn't he? He can just switch it on and off like that, and it's very impressive.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Like get in the zone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Someone in the chat also, they saw something on your IMDb and they really want to talk about it, which is Badgergeddon. Can you tell us about Badgergeddon?
On my IMDb, oh my gosh, Badgergeddon. that was a short film that I think I did right at the beginning of my career.
Yeah.
And it was just a really fun, silly short film. I didn't even know it was on IMDb.
Oh, it is.
They just put everything on there. Yeah, and it was basically a horror film, and what turned out to be, I mean, I don't want to, you're probably never going to find the film. I don't want to ruin it for you, but it's basically a killer badger.
Okay.
No.
I think find me an actor that didn't do a lot of low budget horror films at the beginning of their career.
I want to be clear also, that was not like you do low budget horror. That was like, people were like, oh, we want to know about Badgergeddon.
Low budget horror is some of the best fun I have ever had. And you know what? It gave me a huge appreciation. I hated horror, and it gave me a huge appreciation for horror films.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the best.
And they have the best titles, right?
Yeah.
You just said you doubt anyone will ever see it. I want you to know I spent 5 seconds. I found 3 different links to Badgergeddon on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
It's viewable. It's out there. That's all I'm going to say. It's out
the internet doesn't forget, does it?
No, it's there forever.
Never
it's
forgets.
there forever.
The key is to put so much content out that, like, if you made hundreds more Badgergeddons, they'd never find the original.
That's right.
Yeah. That's what right.
Our show, we do so many hours every week that to find any specific moment is nearly impossible. So you just have to flood the
That's
zone.
our whole strategy. Today we're doing like 14 straight hours, and that's like 10 Badgergeddons an hour. So we're doing, I mean, hundreds of Badgergeddons in total over the course of the year. Not thousands.
So how long have you guys been hanging out chatting for now then?
Today?
We just hit 6 hours.
Wow, you guys must really like each other.
We love each other.
Sometimes.
Patrick, all the time.
All the time.
Rude.
There's
no need. It's so disappointing to go for that cheap laugh about how we don't have affection for one another when we clearly do.
Loren, you get it. I mean, you're a serious actor, and you talk about trying to find the real emotion in a scene. Patrick always looks for the cheap laugh. George and I, we strive for emotional presence and honesty, and Patrick's always looking for a cheap pop.
Loren.
Well, you need both, don't you? Got to cover all bases.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could use a little less Patrick, to be honest. A little more Loren, a little less Patrick. I
Loren,
think
what's that art on your wall in the background? What is that?
Oh.
What is that? I have a museum I'm opening up in Los Angeles called the Museum of Narrative Art. And so I'm always on the lookout. Does that tell a story, that painting, or is it just trees?
It really does tell a story. My nan painted it. She's an artist. So I have a few of her paintings around because whenever I go back to Australia, I'm like, can I have that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Is it titled? Does it have a title?
No, it doesn't.
A lot of classy painters are just called Untitled and then by the artist.
But it's down near where I grew up. It's like the forest where I grew up.
And is that reflecting a body of water? I'm looking to see. It's hard to make out the detail.
George is
So
really.
you've got the trees, you've got the forest, and then you've got the path leading down to the ocean.
Yeah, and you have that wonderful reflection on the water, right? Isn't there some reflection on the water?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If there's not, don't.
I mean, dude, I didn't paint it.
But you like it. It's the only thing you hung on.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Loren.
Well, I mean, I don't like see. Yeah, that's this wall is a lot more cluttered.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll have to believe you. We don't always see is that one wall where you put up a single work of art.
George, it feels like this is turned into an interrogation. She's our guest. Why are you stressing her out so much? She has a nice painting that her nan made for her.
I like the painting. I just want to know more about it in case we want to ask to borrow it. If you would be willing to loan it to the Museum of Narrative Art in Los Angeles for a period of time, because Patrick has a painting that he just.
Sure, I'm sure my nan would be honored.
Patrick has a painting of Harrison Ford and regarding Henry holding a box of Ritz crackers. Oh no, it's a painting of a box of Ritz crackers.
Yeah. Hold it closer. Hold it up, Patrick.
Have you seen Regarding Henry, Loren?
It rings a bell.
It's about a very mean lawyer who's shot in the head and then becomes nicer. And
the irony, Loren, is you said it rings a bell. Regarding Henry's about the man incapable of ringing that bell. He forgets everything.
Yeah, but he learns that he was not a very good person before.
That's
he
right.
was shot.
Who's the actress in it? Who plays his wife again?
Annette Bening.
Yeah.
And he has a memory of Ritz. He keeps painting Ritz crackers. He keeps drawing Ritz crackers. I'm going to spoil Regarding Henry. So if you don't want to, Loren, do you care if I spoil the twist?
No, I remember it now.
Yeah. Okay. Comments. If you don't want to be spoiled for Regarding Henry, go away.
Earmuffs.
Okay. He's painting it and he doesn't know why. And then he realizes it has to do with the Ritz-Carlton and that he was cheating on his wife at the Ritz-Carlton. This is where he would go and commit adultery. And so it's kind of a devastating reveal when he learns the truth about why he has this word in his head, because he doesn't want to cheat on her anymore. He's a better person now, Henry. And that's the book of Henry.
It's the book of Henry.
Loren, thank you so much for coming on. This was great talking to you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure, guys. Good luck with the next 8 hours.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that.
Thank you for talking with us, Loren.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you for having me, and enjoy the rest of your time together.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
See you later. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Now, George and Watto, here's the thing. I got another guest.
What?
You're kidding me?
I see him in the waiting room.
You kidding me?
I see him in the waiting room.
In the waiting room.
I want to
Let's get them out of there and get them on this show.
Well, let me get his character name right, because I want to make sure I get this right. Oh no, he has a full name. This is not the name that's on IMDb is not the correct full name. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's bring in Deputy Marshal Robert Biggs from The Fugitive, Mr. Daniel Roebuck.
Daniel!
How are you, Daniel?
Hold on. Hey, I
think you.
I have a droid here. I was just talking.
Yes. Daniel, also the star of.
Daniel.
Hang on one second.
Hello, George. It's an honor to meet both you and Watto. I didn't before remember that Watto was going to be here.
Yes. No, Watto is always where you least expect or anticipate.
Yes, I remember that. Watto, when I was on my honeymoon, and then you were in the bed next to us.
A little bit of Watto, yes.
Now look at this guy right here. Look at
Here
this
I am.
guy. There he is.
I didn't know if you'd have. Well, there's too much of a reflection.
Oh, there we go.
You can go to the official tops. Oh, it's too reflected. Oh, so much there. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to be there.
Hello.
Yes, thank you for coming on. Daniel, the thing we're talking about today, we're talking about Harrison today.
Oh, Harrison. Yeah,
Loren Peta, yeah.
Wow, what a lovely, beautiful girl.
Yes, she's great. And have you seen the new Blade Runner movie?
Well, I didn't have a reason to see it, and now I do.
It's a good movie. Check it out.
The very good film.
She seems like lovely.
Yeah.
And she plays the other actress?
Yes.
She plays Sean Young shows up in the movie looking exactly like Sean Young did in 1983. So she's doing the whole like facial capture where they replace Sean Young's face with her face.
I see.
Cool. Yeah.
Very interesting. Cool.
So let's start because there's so many things we got to talk about. But let's start with how did you get involved in The Fugitive?
I had an interesting My Fugitive. It was a weird story. I'd love to share it with you quickly. I auditioned for it probably a year and a half earlier when it was potentially going to be Alec Baldwin as Richard Kimball, and I read for The One-Armed Man in that version. And then maybe a year and a half later, I was doing Matlock the first season, and I had a week off, and I was back in Los Angeles, and I went for this audition, and I'm going to tell you the story quickly, but it's completely true, and it's funny how things turn out. I was waiting, and you look back now as an old man, and you think, where was I going? I had a TV series, and I was auditioning for a big Hollywood movie, and I was like, how long is this going to take? Like, I'm that busy. George, I don't want you to be offended. If I ever get to do a George Lucas movie, I would never act like that. But this is a long time ago. And the casting director said, Dan, you're next. You're going to go right in. Please, it's going to be worth it. I promise you. You'll love this director. So I sat down, and then the guy comes out, and right as I was standing up to go in, the assistant says, oh, Andy, Harrison's on the phone for you. So Andy Davis walks, he goes, I'm sorry. And he walks into another office, and the door closes. 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, I'm beside myself with annoyance. Again, who am I? Why am I annoyed? Am I mentally handicapped in some way? Potentially, yes. And then Andy Davis comes out. He goes, okay, who's next? And then I go in. And he says, geez, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to make you wait. And I said, let me be honest with you. If Andy, if Harrison Ford had called me, I would have made you wait a half hour. And then I got the part. And I think it had a lot to do with the right answer. Watto, you know this more than anybody. When you're negotiating, you got to know, am I going to go high, low? You see where they are. So this is kind of like what actors do.
He's the king of acting, Watto. Yeah,
Watto's got this down. But for a guy like me who's not a naturally born shyster, it's hard to figure this out.
Yes, but it worked for you, and you're one of the few actors to reprise your role in the sequel, U.S. Marshals.
Yes.
Not carry over a lot of characters, but you're in both of them.
Yes, we got myself, Joey Pants, Tom Wood, and then there's LaTanya Richardson ended up playing if your fans watch the TV show Lost, they know L. Scott Caldwell. Scotty is an extraordinarily great actor, but she was doing a Broadway show at the moment we were doing U.S. Marshals as things turn out. So
Tony Award winner L. Scott Caldwell.
Yeah, she's the bomb.
Yeah.
She's great.
Yeah.
So it was hard to move on without her, but we moved on. But it was nice. It was nice, Watto, to be in both shows. Yeah.
What are your memories from filming that? Because you're in a lot of that movie. I rewatched it this week, and you're in so much of that movie.
Yeah, we were in it. That movie is so great, and I don't know that people knew how great it was going to be. I remember Mr. Ford at one point said something to the effect of, and I don't think I'm misquoting him wrong. He said, "Oh God, this is going to be my Hudson Hawk," which had just come out. Had just tanked. But, maybe he didn't understand the genius of Andy Davis and the great editing. And what they were up against, you guys, do you know that the actor playing the villain died while they were shooting the movie?
I didn't know that.
Yes, and then he had to be replaced with Loren Peta. I'm 58 soon. In this moment, because I'm live on your show, I'm forgetting his name, but maybe someone it's Richard, a great character actor, like in The Friends of Eddie Coyle. He played. He was in one of the Hitler bunker movies. Yeah. He played Spear. Rick, in this moment, it's horrible. Someone look it up, please.
We're finding it. We're finding it. Yes.
He was cast. Then he passed away. Maybe shortly after this terrible thing that happened.
Richard Jordan. The man's name was Richard Jordan. Yes.
Thank you, Watto. That's terrible. I'm a big fan of his. In this moment, I just didn't remember. That's just age. George Lucas, you understand that more than anything.
I forgot one of the names of the episodes of Young Indiana Jones Chronicles earlier. I misstated it. It's just something that happens. It's hard to.
Yeah.
At a certain point,
well, there was so many of them.
You acquire so many experiences.
And I was never cast in one of them, which I thought was weird because I was a fan. Anyway, I'm not throwing down a gauntlet. I'm just saying if you bring the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles back, maybe I could audition for the role of Young Indy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can make it happen.
That'd be terrific. But anyway, Richard Jordan, great actor. So if you watch the movie, people who are very smart and like movies, as everyone does, that movie tried desperately to shoot in chronological order as best they could. So they shot the beginning of the movie, and then because of the beard. So he had the beard, then they shaved the beard. Well, then the situation happened, and they had to go reshoot all of Richard Jordan's footage with Loren Peta. And so just as like, say, you can always tell the reshoots of any movie. I don't know if people who watch movies know this, but you know which scenes in like The Wolfman were reshot because the main actor's hair is different. In your movie that you produced, in that third Indiana Jones movie, you could see where Sean Connery had to shoot a shot where he's got a fake beard, and it's the only shot in the whole movie where his beard's not. So they had to put, but we had Peter Rob King, an amazing makeup man, was Harrison's makeup man, and he did an expert job. And that was a great situation because he had Harrison and he had me. So because Harrison and I weren't in the scenes together except the last scene, so he drew the short straw and got me. So he glued my mustache on every day, which was fake, and he did Harrison.
I shot with Harrison a wraparound, like a framing device for Young Indiana Jones Chronicles when he had the fugitive beard.
Oh, nice.
So it's the only sequence where you ever see Indiana Jones with the beard, and it was because he had the Richard Kimball salt and pepper beard.
Oh, yeah, that's great that you got him to do that at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, you're you. I mean, he doesn't have a career without you, George.
I mean, he was in a couple other movies before we made him. He just might not have been. He might have been more of a day player.
I would say Yeah, I know, but once you put him in American Graffiti and then you took care of him.
Yeah.
Look at this. There he is.
Look at him. There, he's grown.
Oh,
up.
yeah,
I think it
he
was
looks
like
cool.
must have been shortly before because it's a little bit thicker in the movie, so I think it's the early stages. Of that period.
Yeah. That's great. He's a great actor. Look, I'm glad you guys are celebrating him. He's a good person.
That's what everyone says, so that's why we wanted to do it. It's better than doing it for someone who nobody likes. It seems like everybody likes him, but let's talk about this mustache. Let's talk about this.
Look at the hair, very. Yeah. Very.
Yeah.
It's like a third character in the shot.
Yeah. So I like that mustache. I wanted to look different. We all disappeared. I wanted to look different than I did on Matlock, and I looked a lot like Tom Wood. I mean, he might be a little older than me actually. So I wanted to, and I remember Tommy Lee Jones. He didn't like the idea of the movie. He was like, "Just be yourself. Why do you got to wear a mustache? It's dumb." That's the genius of Tommy Lee Jones. But I'm glad that I stuck with it because two of us would have been too similar. If I didn't like that old face. But great experience, simple, wonderful.
That's good. That's good that it was.
Did we all go to a galaxy far away? We keep disappearing. It's very unnerving for the guest when everyone else on the show disappears. If that happens again, should I take over?
Yes,
absolutely. It's your. If we disappear, it's your show until we return.
Let's see what this is like, Daniel. I want you to host the show for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Let's just see what you do.
Hi, this is Daniel Roebuck. Finally, you people, I know what you're thinking. That guy doesn't really look like George Lucas. I look more like George Lucas. Anyway, I'm here today to tell you how much fun I'm having on this show. And I hope we remember that we're doing this for charity. This is a charity show. We're saying a lot of silly things, but we are trying to raise money. I don't know how exact. We're going to donate to Wings of Hope at
bit.ly/GLTS.
Yeah. So let's donate money to this Wings of Hope charity. How did I do?
You did great. You did great. Right now we're at.
Let's bring up the spreadsheet.
Yeah, we're at 3,553, so $3,553 right now we've raised.
All right, now this is what people do, and I'm not kidding. Now, look, you probably like looking at the girl. She's pretty. You threw some money in. But I'm going to throw this.
But also, George is pretty. I'm pretty. Watto's pretty. Daniel's
but
pretty.
Wait a second. Daniel's giving the hard sell. Don't disrupt his flow. The man was pitching you.
Watto understands how one negotiates. If you like law, I want you to donate $5 or $10. If you like Rob Zombie movies, donate $5 or $10. If you like Matlock, donate $5 or $10. Throw money. All it takes $5 or $10. Let's let my segment be the most money raised, so that I can brag about.
Yes.
Well, Daniel,
that tomorrow. So Daniel, $5, $10.
I'll throw this to you, Daniel. Very often, the way we get to juice those numbers on donations is we establish a new stretch goal. We promise our viewers.
I'm going to take my clothes off. Okay.
Well, no, I'm just saying. We say to our viewers, if we hit this number in this amount of time, we'll do this. Is there anything you can think in your room right now?
Tell me what the number is, and I'll think of what I can do.
Here we go. So we are at 3,553. I think if we get to, let's say 3,750. Let's say 3,750.
Yes. So move a vegetarian sausages down. Carrots and sausages will happen later. 3,750 is the number.
And then, do I give something? Do I donate something?
It's your call. Let's come up with what it is that you do. It can be a thing that you give to the person who donates the most. It can be a thing you do on camera that people want to see. I want you to get creative here.
All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just pulling this up because, hold on, we've got to pull this picture up.
Okay.
Can you guys do it faster than me? Pull up the top, somebody there, and they pull up the top Grease-Dritis living Topps Grease-Dritis living card set.
Yeah. Yes.
And
hang on one second.
it was a limited edition. Does someone have that? George, what are you eating?
I'm pulling it up right now.
One of the stretch goals was that I was supposed to eat carrots, and we passed.
Ah.
So now I'm eating these little.
Can you find it?
I'm finding it. Hold on. I'm finding it, Daniel. I'll have it in a moment.
Was it
Thank
this
you,
one?
Watu.
Is it
the one that looks like the old Star Wars card?
Yeah. Okay, great. I got that one.
You got
Dan,
it.
I believe that when The Fugitive was being developed into a movie, there was talk originally of it not resolving. And what I recall is that Harrison wanted the movie to end because the TV series was sort of famous for stringing the audience along for 4 seasons.
Right.
The most compelling thing about it was that you were always frustrated. You never got that resolution. But Harrison didn't want to get stuck in another trilogy, and so he wanted to make it a hard ending with a resolution within the movie. Did you ever, by the time you came on, was the script as it is in the movie?
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I mean, that just doesn't seem like a good idea anyway. I don't think the movie would have been the success it was without the resolution. I really don't. That movie needed resolution. Okay, so we're just trying to raise what? We're trying to raise $200 more?
Yes, correct.
Hey, we got to start small and then we'll keep going.
Yes.
All right. Here's what you see this. Now, this was available for 1 week. If anybody's familiar with the Topps the living set, Grease-Dritis, this is a character I play in Jedi Fallen Order.
Yep.
These were only available for 1 week, and now they're not available from Topps ever again. If you donate $100, if we have 2 $100 donors, I will send you one of these signed by me. I will include some photos of us on the set making Jedi Fallen Order. I will sign them all. And so I'll make a little packet for you.
That's great.
And the other person who wins. So let's get $2 donations.
Yeah.
And I will. They'll tell me how to get it.
Yes.
How's that?
If you donate the $100, just send your receipt to thegeorgelucastalkshow@gmail.com and remind me what it's for, and we will make sure.
And to make it clear to people, if you're the first 2 to donate now, you get the Daniel Roebuck gift pack. If your donation comes in after the 2 have been claimed, you're going to get one of the remaining signed Indiana Jones cards from Corey. So you're going to get something.
Yes. Daniel, a lot of people are asking me to ask you about Jay. Can we talk about Jay a little bit?
Oh, yes, Jay. Oh, sure. I'll get a little Jay. Somebody donates $500. I'll record their voice message as Jay Leno. $500.
$500. Jay Leno voicemail.
We love it.
You'll get it from me.
Bargain. A bargain.
I'll do it. Now let's say, hey, it's Dan Roebuck.
Dan, two different legends of TV comedy. You do Jay Leno and you played Gary Marshall in the Morgan.
Yeah, that's right. I did Jay and Gary. Sure, Gary Marshall was fun because he always has fun when he talks. He's very happy. One of the reviews said my voice was grating, and I was like, "Don't me that review. Call him." I did him. So J Lo, I hate to tell everybody this, is I greatest guy of all these talk show guys. He's the best. The best.
That's great.
I feel like I'm on alone again.
No,
you're freezing up. We're not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, it's freezing a little bit on your end, but that's okay. We're not leaving you. Uh-oh.
What a great, all right.
Good picture, though.
It's a great picture. It's a great picture.
It is a good picture. What do we do?
Now, Daniel,
Daniel, hang on. Daniel, if you can hear us, refresh your stream and try to come back. Uh-oh, he's gone.
Oh, no.
This is like what happened to Arst.
We did get
it's like what happened to Arst on Lost. His character was there, and then all of a sudden, dynamite, he's gone.
George, you're spoiling all my talking points.
So we got the donations.
We got one donation for one card. If we got another card, we got another donation. That second card's gone. I'm gonna refresh.
So we're at the
second card gone.
Okay, but that also means it's time for the packet pack.
Is he back?
Hey,
there we go.
Back,
That's okay. Daniel, best news. Both cards sold.
Sorry.
Let's whisper to him. Let's whisper to him.
Daniel, hear us. Daniel, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Daniel? Daniel, we want to know if you can hear us, Daniel. Daniel, can you hear us? Daniel, you're frozen. We're still here. You're frozen. Daniel, can you hear us? You're frozen. We just want to talk to you. Daniel, we're right here. Daniel. Oh no. Daniel, can you hear us? Daniel, can you hear us? Daniel, this is Daniel. I think you can hear me. I think the only people who can hear me are the ones watching this. I don't think George. Guys, I'm gonna try going into Daniel's cube. Hold on. Oh
no, he's stuck halfway. George is stuck.
I was gonna hold my breath and go down into his cube and see if I can get him out.
George, that's scary. If you had gone in there, you might have got trapped there forever. Then the cube disappeared.
We would have lost you. It's kind of interesting that we started talking about Jay, and then that's when we had all the tech issues.
But I was going to say, Daniel was complimenting Jay, but Jay was there in the wires of the internet going, you see this? How about this? Pulling out the cables.
Eavesdropping on our show.
I wish you would come on.
Not
lack of trying.
Patrick, show the spreadsheet.
Hang on.
I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try to go down.
George, this is dangerous.
Oh, George almost made it more dangerous.
George, what was it like down there?
Daniel's there. He's there. But it's
is he
dark.
sick? Is Daniel sick?
Fine. Danny's fine. It's this connection. It's this connection.
Okay.
Watto, maybe if you try to go in from the side.
Okay. Wish me luck, boys.
Be careful, though.
Got to move my Lego video games out the door.
Yeah, don't get them trapped in the void.
I can't. And I'm going to bring in some protection, some backup.
Just give us one before you go.
Yeah, sure.
The whip brought him back.
Oh, he's here.
He's here. Daniel, welcome back.
I was just trying to pull another computer. I don't know how this works.
That's okay. It's okay.
It's working.
We were talking Jay, and then the evil Tonight Show gods pulled the plug.
No, they love Jay. Oh no, they love me. They love me. I could work for the Tonight Show. Oh yeah. So Jay Leno, great person.
Yeah, you got to meet him, I'm assuming?
Yes.
What was his reaction to meeting you after?
I did. He was very nice to me. So
that's good.
That's 25 years ago, actually.
Yeah.
We did an interview last week for that. That's 25 years since it's been on TV.
Oh, wow.
David Letterman was a terrible person to the man who played him, John Michael Higgins. Yeah. He couldn't have been ruder to him.
Oh no, now David Letterman is disrupting the internet.
I still hear Daniel, though.
I hear him. But what are those noises?
Daniel. Letterman.
Daniel.
Oh, there he is. There we go. We're back.
Guys, is it your computer or is it my computer? I don't know how this works.
I think it might be your computer. I think it's just the internet. It's okay. It happens.
Your computer, Daniel.
I'm trying to bring another computer up to switch to Chrome to see if that works. I don't know. So I don't have it on this other computer. So
Jay was famously much nicer to the affiliates, and Letterman would always be rude and not paying any attention to the affiliates. And that's one of the reasons why Jay had the success that he had, and in some ways Letterman had the struggles that he had. A lot of those came from very basic personality issues.
I think, George, you're completely right. And look, I know a lot of people, especially young people, not anymore. Young people don't have any idea who David Letterman is or was. Right. But then, and the bet, you watched the movie, they made the bet. The bet was Letterman. That was because you followed Letterman more than you followed Jay. And, the people who made the movie thought Jay was they just didn't have faith in what he had. And what Jay had was he was everyman. What Letterman had was he was the Mr. Know-It-All asshole that you see in the bar who thinks he knows everything and he tries to hit on your girlfriend, which evidently David did. And I think that, if it's about money, well, they're both multimillionaires. If it's about...
They're both doing great, money-wise.
If it's about your living, do you make it better or worse? I think that's my opinion.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And,
I
was lucky. I always say I was lucky to play the nice guy. So when I didn't bother him while we were shooting, but I gave him a call the day I was done shooting. I called NBC. I asked for the Tonight Show. I got the Tonight Show. I asked for Jay Leno. They put me into his office. His assistant said, Helga said, who is this? And I said, Daniel Roebuck. And she said, hold on. And he goes, hey, Danny, how'd it go?
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. That's really good to hear. What was your makeup process like?
Well, that picture doesn't make the makeup look too good. So I was wearing a prosthetic chin and a prosthetic nose. Back then, a fat suit because I was a lot skinnier, and hair and teeth.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on there. But my day started 5 hours before everybody else's, and then John Michael Higgins would come in and put in the teeth and say, "I'll see you on the set." So funny.
Yeah.
And he's so great. John Michael Higgins is so great.
He's
so great in the movie. That's what I didn't understand. If you're going to have someone play you such a great job, why don't you just take care of him and be nice to him?
I like to think that if anyone ever did an impression of me and then they tried to get a hold of me, that I would pick up the phone and I would say, let's hang out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That you would view it as a tribute, that you wouldn't be offended. You would understand hypothetically that the person playing George Lucas would be doing it out of respect.
There'd be no other reason to do it. Not especially if they did it a lot.
Yes. Yeah. If they spent hours.
If you were making fun, you would go out of your way to put a poster of a flop behind you. You know what I mean?
And American Graffiti is one of the most financially successful. It's one of the most profitable films of all time, Daniel. I don't know what numbers you're looking at, but they don't make them much more profitable than this.
Yeah, it's one of the.
Yeah. And this kicked off the most successful franchise of films in the history of cinema. I guess Marty would not call it cinema, but Marvel films are very successful. And Radioland Murders is just the third, and often the third in a trilogy if it's a prequel, because Radioland Murders is the third American Graffiti movie. And American Graffiti, Mark American Graffiti, and these are Richard Dreyfuss's parents from American Graffiti in Radioland Murders. So
now, Daniel,
nothing but success here.
Daniel, you told me a Radioland Murders story. Let's talk about it.
I did tell you that, dude. Yeah. So we're making Matt Roebuck in Wilmington, North Carolina, George, where you were making Radioland Murders on the soundstage right next door. And I went over because, you had Harvey Korman in it. I mean, Harvey Korman, doesn't get better than Harvey Korman. So I went, I was very glad that you cast him, and I went over to meet him, and then we had a great talk, and then you called him into the set. You send your underlings to call him into the set. And then I went to my set, and then one of my PAs came over, and he was like, Dan, Harvey Korman's out here looking for you. So I was so glad to hang out with Harvey Korman. And Anita Morris, I met, you cast her. I thought that was good.
Yeah.
So you have a good eye for casting, George.
That film is nothing but great. I mean, well, I obviously was familiar with Harvey's work on the Carol Burnett show, but also in the Star Wars Holiday Special, because he did some of the funniest. That special was not entirely successful creatively, but the Harvey bits are all very funny. They're kind of like the birth.
I thought that the only place I thought it failed is I kind of wanted to see more Watto in it. Why was Watto a character?
I agree,
thought he
but
could
the
have run the
technology,
station. You know what I mean?
the technology wasn't there yet, Daniel. He was trying his hardest to get me in there, but the technology wasn't there yet.
I would never have done a puppet Watto. Never would have done him as a puppet, and that would have been my only choice. Yeah.
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 Now,
I
Daniel,
understand.
Yeah.
on our show, Daniel, we have when we want to introduce a new segment, we'll play a bumper usually, a little like pop. Here it is. I'm going to show you one just so you get the idea of what it looks like. Let's do.
Look, Daniel's got these lightsabers.
Ooh.
So let me show this bumper, George. Say we're doing let me bring one up. Here we go.
You don't have a weapon. We're all fighting.
God, I don't have a weapon.
Don't use Roebuck.
We'll use him. I have to say, this was made by a young man in Harrison, Boston. Made me this. He printed this on his printer. This is the lightsaber from Jedi Fallen Order. Please play me the bumper, Patrick.
So it's going to come back to why it's important. Here we go. This is a bumper we would use. This one's called Patrick's Gripe Corner. Okay.
So that's what we play when Patrick wants to gripe about some shit.
Oh, all right.
But it makes me think of you, Daniel, and I'm going to put something in the private chat because I want you to read a line, and I think we can do something here.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to rephrase it because I think it's not exactly correctly.
Interesting. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Can I pretend this is the nitro?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, nitroglycerin is extremely temperamental. So we're not going to take any more of this than we need.
There we go. There we go.
Like that. Dude.
That's fun.
Very nice.
Dan,
very nice.
Have you had a chance pre-pandemic? I don't know if you're a theme park guy, but did you get a chance to go to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge?
Wait, hold on. George, you'll never believe it. I just did it Friday. I just rode the ride Friday.
In Florida?
I rode the ride.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
Florida's wide open. It's the greatest amusement ride in the history of amusement rides.
It is.
I don't think.
Is there any chance? Because surely you've been in. Oh, that's wonderful.
Hang on. Let me make it. Where is he?
Not me.
No, not me.
I'm trying to make it. Oh, show us again. It froze, Daniel.
Patrick.
Oh,
okay,
boy,
there's
look at those.
the guys.
Wow. So, over the span of several decades, you have gone from River's Edge to Galaxy's Edge.
Oh, nice.
What a journey.
Nice.
Was there anyone there? I mean, if the band U2 had been in that ride at the same time, that would have been the greatest confluence of Edge-related pop culture.
Yeah, because they're, yeah. And if I would have been shaving, but let me tell you something about, like, if I was using my edge razor. So this is what people need to know if they want to ride this ride, Rise of the Resistance. You must take a 12-year-old to the park. The ride is inaccessible to anybody over the age of 21 because we're like this. Wait, hold on. Is it one? Hold on. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it. Right? Yeah. And by that time, these 74,000 little bastards have been, and they're already in the ride. So we were smart enough to take 2 people under the age of 21, and one of them got us into the ride. Now, why me, the man who flies the spaceship in a whole thing called Jedi Fallen Order, why I don't get into the ride without waiting? George, I don't know if you could call them.
I could. I didn't know. I didn't know. I would have made the call.
Oh, now you know. So I'll tell you next time we're going.
Yeah. Hit me up.
But I will tell people it's the greatest experience. It's so well done. George, I bow to your genius. These images that you put into that first movie, they just keep living.
Yeah.
And so, thank you.
The stories we tell have a life beyond the telling of them. They continue to grow and change because every time someone has an experience, it inspires a new strand of it.
Yeah.
And we watched Back to the Future the other day. Your friend Bob Zemeckis put in a little acknowledgement to you in that. A little, I come from the planet Vulcan. Darth Vader sent me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even, Dan, you've even been a part of stories that people tried to, that have lived on despite, because you were part of the pilot for Look Well.
Do you know, it says that. I'm not.
You're not?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not in Look Well, but that's the thing with Adam West.
That actor just looks like it's you doing a favor?
It's weird. I don't know. No, I don't. I'm not in it. I don't know what it is.
Wow. You need to get this changed because I'd always assumed that it was you and that it was just like that you had done some sort of favor to be a part of it.
Wow. I wonder, I should see it sometime to see who people think I am. It is weird, there's how, with the internet being so right about everything, there are other things I'm credited to, and I always feel bad because there's an actor who should get credit. But, that said, I've done an awful lot. May I take a moment on this to promote something I'm doing? Is that okay?
Yeah.
I wish people would look up a channelofpeace.org. That's a not-for-profit that I started, a channelofpeace.org. This is, we're just working on the movie poster for our next movie, Lucky Louie. Lucky Louie is about a retired 82-year-old cop who can't solve a 50-year-old bank robbery, so he enlists the help of his Bible study, which is comprised of 4 ex-convicts, and together they, forensic psychology major, and the town of Bethlehem come together to re-rob the bank and solve the crime 50 years later.
Great.
And it's what we do at A Channel of Peace is we're making faith-based family movies. I'm in a lot of great movies that aren't faith-based, of course, nor are they family movies. I wouldn't take a family to see many of the Rob Zombie movies, but all families will want to see the next Rob Zombie movie that he's going to make one day soon.
Yeah.
And that's it. But a channelofpeace.org, and look at the kind of work we've done. And the movie I made, Getting Grace, is available on Hulu. So please check that.
Yeah. Before we let you, I do want to talk about Lost a little bit because I know the 3 of us are big Lost heads. What was your experience like on that show? Because you were a character who you were around for a little bit and then you kept coming back even after you died, which was always nice to see you pop up. What
It was
what
nice
your-
for my accountant and ex-wife
Yes, sure.
as well. Or did I? My accountant and ex-wife. They're not the same person. But I thought the accountant might work for the ex-wife. So the great thing about Lost was Carlton Cuse, who is a genius, and Damon Lindelof is a genius, and all the writers are like operating on another level. Carlton called and said, "Would you come do Lost? We're going to kill you in the 3rd episode." And I was like, "Yeah, who am I playing?" He goes, well, you'll see when you get here." So I said yes. People say, "You took a part? You didn't read the script?" I said, "No, I read the plane ticket." It said I was leaving LAX and I was laying out. Only an idiot wouldn't take that job.
Yeah.
And despite what many people think, I'm not an idiot. I had a great time. But, we talk about this. Everybody pushes on young actors now, networking. It's all horse shit. You don't network. You just go and do the best job you can do. And then if you do a good job and you're pleasant to people and you put I would be covered in mud, and I would still hang the mud-covered shirt on the hanger. Yeah. Even if the woman was going to take it right off the hanger again, she knew that I respected her job by putting it up there. So then they say, well, this guy, he did an okay job, and he wasn't horrible to the crew, and he didn't eat too many of the M&Ms from craft service, and then they let you come back.
Yeah. And you got a let me pull this up. You got a bobblehead out of it.
I did. Hey, you want to hear a crazy story about the bobblehead? I actually have a story.
Yeah, of course.
So it's a Lost auction, which was after Lost was off the air. Yeah. We went to their booth, this company, Whizbang or BizPow or whatever. Pan. And they had bobbleheads. Yeah. And they had like a bobblehead of the guy who was the head of the what was the company called that they
Pharma Initiative. Yeah, I did. Francois Chow, friend of the show. Yeah,
friend of the show.
Yeah, great guy. But it was a guy wearing a lab coat. I was like, who buys that?
Yes.
Gynecologist? Like, even is. So I said, Dr. Arst, he was loved. He was loved by the people. And they said, look, if Disney will say yes, we'll put you in the line. Wow. So I said, who at Disney? So they gave me the name of the woman, and I called the woman up, and I said, hi, I'm Danny Roebuck, and I brought to these, and they said I should call you. And they said, if you say it's okay, they'll do it. And I'd like to be a bobblehead. And this woman, whose name I know, but I won't say out loud because she was godly, she said to me, I said, what do you mean? She goes, no, all I get all day are calls from actors who don't want to be a toy. You're saying you want to be a toy? And I said, I want to be a toy. Of course I want to be a toy. She said, then you got it. Tell them yes.
Oh my God.
And that's how I got in that line.
That's great. That's rad.
That's great.
I have a collection in my home in Los Angeles. I actually have a collection of toys, wax figures, movie memorabilia, a little movie memorabilia, but a lot of stuff. If people go to DanielRoebuck.com and they look up Dr. Shocker's House of Horror, they can see how big the collection used to be, but I winnow it down. Once you start making faith-based family movies, you don't have the extra money because you don't have any money because you're making a movie to make the world better. Yeah. So I buy less toys.
That sounds right. That tracks.
What did you get, George?
What are you getting, George? Oh, this.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there you go, George. I didn't even have this. There we go.
Gosh, that's really great, George.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
And then you talk about family entertainment.
Oh, and then this is George's whole family as action figures
at that time.
That's you and your kids?
Yeah.
And they made who? Your wife?
No, this is before I met Melody. This is before I met Melody. So
those were his bachelor days. It's him, 2 daughters, and his son.
Yeah.
I see.
The Lucas collector set. These are the best Star Wars toys that anyone ever made, along with Watto.
This one looks like a Watto s'more.
Watto's got his. That's really handy. All I have is the lightsaber of the kid.
I got a puppet.
Did you hold it?
This is me as a puppet.
You got a puppet of you?
Yeah.
That's nice.
Someone made that.
I have a can of.
There you go. Oh, hey, look.
Hey, did anybody bid any money? Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
we got both of the cards got sold.
They
Let's
did?
do a refresh. Yes. It happened while your computer was freezing up, but both of them got sold quickly.
Yeah. So I will get you those addresses and we'll figure it all out.
Yeah, you get me that.
Yeah. That's great.
Patrick, let's look at the total. Let's do a little total refresh. Daniel wanted to see the numbers jump up.
Oh, sure. We're at 382315 right now.
You went over. Good.
Yeah. So we got there. We're doing pretty good.
Daniel, did you get to meet Grumpy Cat, Daniel?
I did. I met Grumpy Cat. God rest her soul. Wow. She's gone now. She's gone to cat heaven.
What was she like? Was she grumpy like Letterman or nice like Jay?
She was lovely. Now, at one point, I had to pick that $30 million cat up, and I had to go like this. Oh, no. And the beautiful girl, Tammy, who was Grumpy Cat's caretaker, almost had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah,
because so they had fake cats, they had rubber cats, they had animatronic cats.
Yeah.
But they needed me to pick up the real cat and be like, I got this cat. And she was like, oh, don't do that to the cat. Because the cat wasn't well.
Well, and the rule in screenwriting is save the cat, never shake the cat.
Yeah, never shake the cat. George, can I ask if I went to an amazing place yesterday here in Tampa. Yes. And I'm wondering if some of these clown paintings I think would be ideal for the Museum of Narrative Art.
Yes.
I mean, know everything that's happening here.
Oh, these are telling stories. Like that dog is like, what's he got? And that clown. Yes. These are Call the museum. This is a definite yes. We're gonna have a clown room. Do you know who made these paintings? These aren't Keaton's, are they?
They say property of Michael Keaton, actually.
Oh, Michael Keaton. Because I know Diane did them, but maybe Michael's getting it on the game.
Michael did This was when he didn't want to do the next Batman, and that's how he felt.
That's how he felt watching Val do it. Oh, okay, that's so great.
Oh my gosh.
The old multiplicity days. Now, those are great. And just call the museum up. Tell them George said absolutely yes to all clown paintings that you have. As long as they tell a story. As long as they tell a story. And so far, everything you show me is telling a beautiful story.
No, they're not just telling a story. They're screaming a story. They're singing a story.
Wonderful.
Just like this tells the story.
There you go.
Faith-based family movies.
We'll put that poster up in the museum. It tells a story too. We'll put the poster up.
Put it all up. What? Oh, Daniel, this has been great. Thank you for coming on, Daniel. But wait, before you go, I want to hear what would Jay have said if he had been stuck on that dang island, Daniel?
Jay Leno?
Yeah.
He said, this is so weird. I'm on the plane, and it was Spirit Airlines. And, the oxygen came down, and the guy next to me died because his credit card was expired. He couldn't get it in there.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. This has been great.
God bless everybody. Let me know who I'm sending that stuff to, and thank you to those people for donating. God bless you.
Thank you, Daniel. Stay in touch. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, boy. So fun. So
wonderful. I bet Jay would have been pretty excited when they found that VW bug because he's a car guy. It probably would have been like a big moment. Him and Hurley working on that VW bug.
That's a great point. George, we got to switch our stream. So we're going to switch this.
Don't cross them.
Don't cross them. We'll be back in 1 second.